Your local writers group is crap. Stop burning off your free time in the presence of introverted do-nothings. Instead, join the Gosslings Writers Group Livestream and podcast. The Gosslings, a digital gang for writers. Writers who actually write stuff, who use typewriters. Writers who name their pit bulls Hemingway. Writers who write all the people who've ever offended them into their stories, then murder the shit out of them. The Gosslings. We don't always act pretentious, but when we do, we wear f***ing ascots. Welcome to The Gosslings.
Write like a man. Use a typewriter.
Take up the broken sword of your father.
And strike down the darkness. Cheers.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
And we are the Gosslings. And this is our weekly live stream where we discuss all things writing, publishing, esoteric, conspiratorial, political,
politics.
Topical, just anything that that strikes, it trespasses the light of our campfire.
Absolutely. Whatever might be countercultural is welcome. At our fire.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a sort of just like a writing, publishing episode this week. We skipped last week, and then the week before that, or 2 weeks before that, was the Gary Wayne.
Right?
Yeah,
the man.
Yeah, why don't you fill in everybody on like how we've done post Gary Wayne?
Having Gary Wayne on with us was
for the second time.
Like pouring, for the second time. It was like pouring fuel additive into your tank.
Yeah.
It was great. It was like nitro.
Yeah.
It was nitro. People were really interested in Gary Wayne and what he has to say and the subject matter, and particularly how it ties into the absolute insanity we're seeing unfold all around us and what that could possibly mean, especially if you're a religious person.
Yeah.
If you're a Christian, if you're kind of keyed into where are we in the whole timeline of things, Gary Wayne can really bring some amazing insights, and he did. Yeah. He brought some amazing insights, and a lot of people really got. We're going to try to have more of that type of thing.
Yeah.
And try to, of course, have Gary back too. He's working on another book.
Yeah.
He's an author, therefore he qualifies to be on the live stream.
For anybody who maybe is a first timer listening to this, or if you're just not familiar with what we're talking about, Gary Wayne wrote a book called The Genesis 6 Conspiracy. And it takes everything that you've ever heard of regarding pretty much any conspiracy within Christendom, from the Templars, the Masons, to Leviathan, Lilith, the Nephilim. Primarily the Nephilim kind of hinges on the suppression of that information. And the Masonic orders, the Templars, the
fallen angels, the forbidden Gnostic knowledge.
Yeah, all of that
Enoch.
Arcane esoterica.
Fairies.
Yeah, I mean, Stonehenge, like all sorts of just, weird things that, you either think you know about or you've heard in passing, and a lot of stuff you've never heard of, weaves it into this like multi-dimensional tapestry.
Yeah, it's all connected. He connects everything seamlessly. It's one amazing.
Of the densest.
His book is like one of the only ones up there that doesn't have dust on it.
Right, yeah.
Both copies that I have. Like,
yeah.
Very few books achieve that honor.
No kidding. And I mean,
shelf.
it's like 800 pages of just chronologies and bloodlines.
Of feeling stupid is what it is. 800 pages of feeling like an idiot because you think you know until you read Gary Wayne. You're like, oh crap, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So if you've never checked him out, or if you've never heard of him before, the Genesis6Conspiracy.com is the website.
Mm-hmm.
You can find his book, The Genesis 6 Conspiracy, on Amazon, pretty much anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he's legit, man. He worked on that book for 30 years, and it shows.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's legit. Oh,
Yeah.
he's legit. But he won't. He lets us do the toast,
Mm-hmm.
and then and I don't think he drinks.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He's pretty straight laced.
He's
Pretty
well, you
admirable.
can't write a book like that and not be sober. You have
Right,
to be sober for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, Bukowski isn't writing that book.
No, no. Oh man. But this is we are drinking actually today. This is called Wheeler's Raid.
Oh, nice.
After General Wheeler.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is a straight rye whiskey distilled in Indiana.
Tell people about General Wheeler.
Well, all I know is that in 1863, General Wheeler made a raid on, I think it was, I can't remember which general's army it was. Anyway, there was this surprise attack. They chased off the adversary, who left behind this wagon train of supplies, and in this wagon train was all of this whiskey.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
that's that's what you want.
And if
you want to find out how to keep the troops happy, two things: shoes
and
whiskey.
The tide of the war did turn.
Yes,
so good for them.
Yeah. So what's funny about the Gary Wayne interview though is it kind of, in the words of one of my friends at work, it made us go Gosslings viral.
Yeah, Gosslings viral.
Yeah, which is Gosslings is the heavy quantifier that is needed.
And when we say viral, we mean on YouTube.
Yeah,
we're not talking pandemics.
No, but that's the irony of it, is that we crested 100 subscribers.
Yeah,
so now we have our own URL.
Yeah,
right.
Yep. Just youtube.com/the Gosslings.
Yeah, youtube.com.
People can find us now
/the Gosslings with 2 S's.
Do you know how hard it was for me to find my own channel? Up until this week.
If you want an exercise, if you want an exercise in frustration, like create a Teespring page and then try to find it.
Yeah.
Try to get to it.
Yeah.
You want to, like, some of these websites, highly successful websites, have the most bass-ackwards UIs. Yeah. It's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, thanks to that Gary Wayne interview, there were some people who posted it on different forums or web pages or whatever, and it kind of got the word out, and we crested 100 subscribers. So YouTube allows us to have our own URL now,
which is great.
It's killer.
We're big time.
We're big time now, baby.
Thanks for hanging with us.
And that's right. And then that live stream alone, like the entire live stream, has crested 570 views.
That one episode.
That one episode.
Yeah, that one episode did, which is, I mean, that's, it's a feather in our cap, but it was an unexpected one.
Yeah, because we had already interviewed Gary Wayne once before, and we had interviewed Pressfield twice.
Stephen Pressfield.
Yeah, Stephen Pressfield.
Is awesome.
And Pressfield's amazing. And then Natasha Rawls and
she's
Richard
great
Holt,
too.
We've interviewed some decent people. Gary Wayne is Gary Wayne's big in those circles if you travel in those circles. So it's just, you never know where it's going to come from. We're really blessed and really happy to have our modest boost in viewership that we've had, and yet it was also the one. So Nick does pretty much all the work for this live stream. I just come in like Nick Nolte and stumble in and just where am I supposed to stand and what's my line? What's that intern's name?
You just come in like Alec Baldwin and point the gun.
Yeah, I just wave the gun at whatever. Whatever cinematographer has pissed me off that day. That's terrible. So Nick does all the work for the live stream, and he chops everything up. He edits it all. He's very good at it. He writes down timestamps. It's a lot of effort that goes into it, and it shows.
Thank you.
It really does.
I appreciate that.
A friend at work told me that we look like we're obviously not a mid-grade, YouTube channel, based off of viewership and subscribers and everything.
Yeah.
But we look like it.
That's cool.
Yeah, we look.
That's high praise, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, we
really,
we'll get there,
and that's thanks to Nick. We really do look like.
Well, it's all about appearances.
Yeah, I mean, talk about fake it till you make it. We're
we're Christians, so it's all about appearances.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's all about looking good on Sunday and then spending the rest of the week just slide back. But
with a big crescendo of backsliding on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night is the big, all the the choir of demons comes out to sing our dirges.
But if you're alive on Sunday morning, it'll be
Yeah, if
okay.
you make it to Sunday morning, you're doing it. Come on. I mean, that's what the Catholics do. No, but the Gary Wayne interview was great. Nick does a lot of effort, puts a lot of effort into chopping these live streams up into more manageable YouTube videos. So he'll take the live stream down, he'll chop it up into a bunch of different segments, and then post it, according to the timestamps, different topics. And the one that, this is the first time we've ever actually covered a topic that got us a strike on our channel.
We got struck.
So
we got slapped in
the
the
Lord
face.
giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Right.
The Gary giveth and the Gary taketh away.
It was a net win.
Yeah.
We got struck, which means we couldn't post anything we actually went live week before last.
Yeah.
But it didn't get posted to YouTube. We put it on Rumble.
Yeah.
But it didn't go live to YouTube because we were under that strike.
Yeah.
And we couldn't go live. We couldn't post anything. We couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
For like a full week. And if it happens again, they'll do the same thing to us for a month, and then the third time they'll probably just shut our channel down. But what we got struck for is also what brought us, is the interview with Gary Wayne. A segment of that interview is what a lot of people kind of like, oh shoot, I gotta watch this. So it was a blessing and a curse. Net win.
Oh yeah,
definitely more of a blessing than anything else. And we were just trying to find the truth. That's all.
Yeah.
And we wanted his perspective, and he gave it. And the dark powers that be, the beast system, didn't like his answer.
Nope.
And that's the bottom line. But Rumble, I will have you know, does not care. As a matter of fact, Rumble just went public. Did you hear that?
I did. Yeah,
dude, they're going public.
Yeah,
which means you're gonna have all these people making investments in Rumble stock.
Yeah.
And which means the company's going to have all of these resources to really improve the platform.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
you think it's going to improve it?
I do. Yeah. They're going to have all that money where they'll be able to build out
capital to help build a better UI, help better algorithms for searches.
better features.
Yeah.
For content creators too. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I think serious.
It can't really, it can always get worse, but it can't really get, there's a part of it where you're just
right now it's a parking lot. It's just a parking lot for stuff you can't park in YouTube's garage.
Yeah, it's like the swap meet that goes on outside of the gun show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of
That's a great analogy, actually.
It's sort of like, or all the knockoff crap that you can't sell at the Star Wars convention.
Yeah.
You take it to the parking lot,
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be a contender I think it's entering the major leagues.
Yeah.
It might be, the Kansas City Royals of the major leagues or whatever team you think is the suckiest out there. But I think they're entering the big leagues now.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm optimistic about it. I think it's going to be a good move overall. I think those features are going to help us and a lot of people who are just trying to try to get a following, try to get some stuff out there and not have to worry about being censored or shut down.
Yeah. That's the biggest net that you can get out of it is just, we really do, like many other YouTube channels, we labor under the yoke of censorship, and trying to ride that very thin, precarious knife's edge of speaking the truth, but also at the same time not getting ourselves thrown in the gulag,
right?
So, tossed into the Bastille.
And what's all of our guests have been absolutely amazing. I love every one of them. Gary Wayne is he's a gentleman. He is the nicest man
really is.
of all of them. And
it
it just irks me that it was something he said.
Right.
That they were like, nope, you're.
Well, that shows you the potency of Gary Wayne. Yeah. If anything, you can gauge the truth by how much it angers the immoral. You can gauge how truthful you are by how much it just pisses off, disreputable people or organizations or You know,
Do you think? I don't know how it works with YouTube. Is it something that they just have set up to monitor for a keyword? Like
Yeah.
that's all automated?
probably.
think?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's always the the reporting aspect.
Mhm.
The Orwellian snitch on your neighbor
And
thing.
maybe someone did, but
It's always possible. Probably not in our case. But
no.
the people who we're still in that nascent stage where anybody who's bothering to watch or listen to us is genuinely interested in the material,
Yep.
or they know us.
Yeah. Probably.
We're not at that level yet where we have trolls and haters who tune in just to get their rocks off on how much they despise us.
Mm.
At least
That'll come though.
I'm looking forward to that. Personally.
You're like,
really like, yeah. I get bored some days, so
Yeah.
bring
Bring it on.
it on. But
No, we don't block comments. At least initial ones.
Yeah, not initially. Not until I find out who you are.
You can make a comment and join the chat, but if you start getting ugly, I'll probably just be like, no, you're out of here.
We have had to do that a couple times. There have,
Yeah.
we do try to keep it like PG-13,
Mhm.
and there have been a couple times where people have kind of, gotten a little too risque for the family. We're not like a family thing, but we try to be family friendly. We don't want you to have to like not be able to listen to this with your kids in the car or something.
Yeah.
So there have been a couple times where we have had to actually like kind of, it's very rare, but
Yeah.
sometimes you do have to put the kibosh on people.
Absolutely.
But that's what happens when you deal with the public. I tell you, it probably is an algorithm thing, an algorithm monitor, because one of my favorite YouTube channels, probably Alexandra, goes to great lengths to self-censor. If you've noticed, a lot of her videos, she either uses code words or mutes herself when saying certain words, or deflects with some sort of a visual aid, so that you know what she's talking about even though she's not actually saying the thing.
Mhm.
So,
And we don't have a code language yet for all the naughty words
right,
and unmentionables.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I think there is an algorithm in play.
We'll do
because
that
I
over
see-
nachos.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think there's an algorithm in play that monitors just audio input, and now in probably Alexandra's case, her channel is big enough to where she for sure does have haters and trolls.
Yep.
But it applies universally. I mean, we've seen it. So.
And I posted, we got struck by YouTube, and I posted it to Facebook. I said, this video was banned from YouTube. I can't believe it. And I had a family member or extended family member on my wife's side tell me that, the post said, you need to watch it before Facebook takes it down too. And this person said, I think Facebook has bigger fish to fry, dear heart.
Oh.
I was like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be on my team. You're like, you're my family. You're supposed to be on my family. And which is funny because
Now
first of
I
all,
know what you think.
well, first of all, she's right. Facebook does have bigger fish to fry, but even more so, YouTube has bigger fish to fry, and
Right.
they struck our channel down.
Yeah.
So
mean-
even trolls exist. All I'm saying is trolls exist in your circle of friends. They exist in your family. Haters are going to hate. That's the bottom line. And you just tune them out. Move
I
on.
like moments like that because it reveals to me what a sniveling, backbiting worm you are. Like if you say that to me, it's like that is such a backhanded comment.
Yeah, it's such a low blow. It's like, why do you even make it?
Yeah,
The only thing you're trying to do is like you feel low, and all you're trying to do is make sure that the other person feels low, and they're trying to do something.
You're trying to remind me that I'm nothing.
That's all it is.
Right. That's
all
the
it
only
is.
And you're so high and mighty. Like you're such a.
Yeah.
Obviously, that chick is a fan of Facebook.
Yeah.
And,
Clearly.
And
Loves trolling.
Yeah. So
Can't even resist doing it to her, her own extended family. It's a shame, and it's sad, really. So
it's okay. I'll find you.
I'll give you her address. No, I got. You know what?
You soon.
I've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Well,
than to spend my time worrying about people like that.
Yeah. That is something that actually does like really protect people. Don't you know, a lot of people in humanity who don't appreciate not just the restraint, that keeps them safe and protected from the justice that they deserve, but also like the fact that like maybe I'm just too tired. Like maybe
Dude, well, I will tell you that.
maybe you deserve to have something bad happen to you, but honestly, I'd rather just sleep.
Yeah.
Just take a nap.
Yeah.
You know.
It's more gratifying to me. But the thing about social media is that it allows the id to speak
Oh yeah.
from a position of safety,
Mm-hmm.
whereas someone would never say that to someone's face.
Right.
And that is what is truly ugly about social media. I
Yeah.
think more than anything else.
Yeah.
That and the constant, you're constantly being forced to compare yourself with, other people. You're constantly comparing yourself to other
There's
people.
a real keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, I mean, you get on
social media.
Yeah, it's really depressing. Like you get on, YouTube, for example,
Mhm.
and we have this channel. We have now we have 100 subscribers, and you get up there, and when I go to my main YouTube page and I start scrolling, and it's recommending videos that it'll think I like.
Mhm.
35 billion views,
Mhm.
100,000 views, 350.
Demoralization.
And then all of a sudden they show my video in the feed,
Yeah.
12 views.
12 views.
and they're just you're being forced to compare yourself, and it's depressing. And that's why Instagram is bad for young girls. It's really, really bad for young girls. And Facebook is bad because it's posts are constantly being promoted based on demographics.
Yeah.
So they're identifying you and putting something in front of your face that they think you want to see.
Mhm.
And it's basically the best, most perfect version of something related to you in your life.
Yeah.
And you start comparing yourself to that. And it's just depressing.
Yeah.
I hate Facebook with a
most of
passion.
social media really is just like all of the sickest parts of humanity.
It is. Oh,
just
absolutely it is.
Just put on display.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Just everything.
And this is also why self-publishing absolutely sucks, because you're in a position where you have to use social media to some degree.
Oh, you do. Yeah.
You
either do or you pay somebody to do it for you.
Yeah.
And
when you're starting out like us, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money yet.
No. I tried to get somebody to do it for me, but it was going to be way too expensive.
Yeah.
Like not just it's a lost lead kind of deal. Like, no, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like
it's expensive.
Not
marketing companies charge big money.
Right. And that's why marketing companies exist, But that is the topic for this week is the why self-publishing sucks.
Absolutely sucks.
But you should do it anyway.
You should. And let's talk about why, because I think that this episode is not really geared towards people who've already written books. I think this is geared, some of the topics might be a little bit, but this is really more for someone who has always thought about doing it, but they're too intimidated by the process of writing and getting a book published. They think of the traditional path. That's all they know. I think self-publishing is an answer to someone who needs a direct path to getting their story in some sort of product form where they can buy it and order it.
Yeah.
And self-publishing allows you to do that. And it's not as scary as you might be thinking. If you've wanted to write something and publish it, you can self-publish, and it's not as difficult and scary as you think.
Yeah.
It's very, very doable.
And it's come a long way even in the past couple of years.
Well, yeah, in the past 5 years, it's come.
But think about it. Think about where it was when you got started with Mobius. Is that right? The different programs. There were 2 or 3 different programs that you needed to run your manuscript through in order to at least to get the ebook version. Before Kindle Create.
Yeah. I don't even remember the name of it, but I can't. I haven't used it since
but it was
Kindle
the most
came along.
It was a nightmare. It was the most counterintuitive. I did it for Empyrean Falling, for the ebook for Empyrean Falling, before Kindle Create came along, Amazon's Kindle Create program, and I just, oh gosh,
it was awful.
It really was. You had to you had, I think, one of two formats that you could publish in, self-publish, at least for the ebook,
Mhm.
and then you had to like run it through. Scrivener was one, right?
Scrivener, yeah.
Scrivener was one, and then there was another one, and then you had to run it through that, and that gave you like the packet, the digital packet that the other program could read and translate, and then translate into like the Amazon friendly, the Kindle friendly. And it just, I don't know how I accomplished it the first time, because I'm so not that guy.
It was really challenging because you had to have one platform to get an ebook ready to throw up an ebook into Amazon's platform, and then for a paperback version, you had to have a different platform, and you are different formatting. And I went with like just a Word doc, converted to a PDF, and uploaded that for my first book. Then Kindle Create came along, and I did, which you just enter your manuscript, and you tell it whether you want an ebook file or a paperback file, and it's so easy. It's so easy,
and it's only getting easier. That's the other thing. Like, it's getting better. Dude, Amazon really makes it. I was really surprised in our Stephen Pressfield interview, because we asked him a similar question. If you haven't watched that Stephen Pressfield interview or listened to it, that's a really good one. I'd go back. It's probably about a month ago, like a month and a half ago, that we interviewed him, and we really, really got some good info from him. And one of the questions that Nick asked him was, if you were a new publisher, what would you do? Would you traditionally publish, or would you, self-publish through Amazon? And his answer was a little surprising to me. He said, pretty much, which makes sense. He said, I would attempt traditional publishing first, and then if not, I would dive headlong into, into the self-publishing world. And that actually was a little surprising to me.
I was very surprised.
Simply because, like, Pressfield, Steve is a guy who really understands the merit of the traditional publishing process, despite its many pitfalls, despite its many sins. There is a process, a humbling process. Primarily, the virtue that you gain from it is humility. The humbling process of the traditional publishing route is kind of intrinsic. At least it seems that way to me. I could be wrong. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it seems intrinsic to Pressfield's brand, sort of, because he has so many great books about it. The War of Art, Going Pro, Do the Work. I mean, just the list goes on and on. But to hear him actually kind of vouch for self-publishing, it's like, it's
not just, I mean, he was open. He was like, if he was starting writing right now, if he started his career right now, he was very open to the idea of self-publishing. And that was encouraging.
Cool.
That was very, very encouraging. And two, you might not care about traditional publishing. You might just want to see your work in printed form where someone can like order it. You might not have lofty aspirations of being a world recognized novelist. You might just want to be able to write a book and, put it on Amazon and let people buy it, or your friends and family can go and buy it and they print it on demand and send it to them. You can have that. You can have the world famous novelist. You can have anything in between if you self-publish. The challenge of self-publishing is that the thing that's for the author that's different between self-publishing and traditional publishing. With traditional publishing, the author focuses on the story and nothing else.
Right. The manuscript.
The manuscript. It's all about the perfect manuscript. It's submitted and the publisher takes it. They pick out the cover. They pick out the editor. Right. They have to worry about the ad copy and the sales copy and running the ads and the market. They have to do all that. They price the book. They're in charge of all that. When you're a self-publisher, that takes up at least half of all of your resources, your time, your energy spent thinking about all those things. You have to figure out what cover is going to work in this market. What's my market? Is this a right title? What does my sales copy look like? What about the blurb on the back of the book? You have to do all those things. You have to run the ads. You have to build up the follow. You have to do everything. beyond just write the story. And you have to think about your cover, your title, your first 3 pages, and what your sales pitch is on your sales page on Amazon. And then you're in charge of what your ads say and where they're placed and how much you're going to, bid per click and all those things. You have to manage. And, HarperCollins has their own email subscribers. They have their own, directory of, of bookstores that are waiting for their next thing. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that follow every, new thing that comes out. You have to build that list on your own when you're a self-published author. So you got the email, you got the marketing, you've got everything. Throw in social media, which will absolutely devour every second of your life you allow it to, and it's a lot. Or you can just say, I just want to write a story and upload it to Amazon so people can order the book. And leave it at that, and you can totally do that too.
And there's nothing stopping you, and there's no real wrong way to do it, depending on what your objective is.
It's all about what you want. What are you trying to get out of this?
Like I have, I got an aunt who, Aunt Debbie. She spends a lot of time with her grandkids, and her and Ron, they travel all over the country, and they take the grandkids with them on their adventures, to see the world's biggest snot ball or whatever, go see some.
I think that's in Iowa.
Probably, go see some historical site, or just all these. They do all these really cool things. They're really fun. But she wanted to, I think it was like a year ago, she was asking me about putting together some sort of a scrapbook, and I told her, like, dude, because she has them, she's a former teacher. So of course she has them write like book reports, reports on what they do, on their vacations, those poor children. And they're sweet kids. They're actually really well-adjusted kids. Kind of like that. It's that homeschool. They have that homeschool vibe, and I think that's partly because of like what Debbie puts them through,
Yeah.
So
I'm very familiar with that vibe. I love that vibe.
Yeah.
I like that vibe.
Yeah, they're very like, proto Nick in a lot of ways. Yeah. But she had all this scrapbook material, and she wanted to put it into some sort of a format. She's like, I don't want to sell it or anything. I just, wanted it to, have some copies to give to me and to, her daughter and, their mom and, a few other people. And it's like, Amazon. Yeah. The only requirements, I think, is that Amazon, it has to be at least 70 pages.
28 pages.
28. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So, it has to be at least 28 pages. And that's it.
Yeah. And a cover.
Yeah. And like, you can even choose one of their covers. Like, it doesn't even matter, you know? It's brilliant. So, and that's not a vanity project for her. That's not something that she's going to try to publish to, take over the world with or anything. That's just something she wants to do for, her family members and for, her grandkids. When they get older, they can look back on it.
Yep.
And I said, you don't even have to like transcribe it. You literally can just scan all the documents or take pictures of the reports and post it all into a Word document, transfer it to a PDF.
Yep.
You don't even have to transfer it to a PDF. It's recommended, but you don't have to. And then
you don't even do that. You just put it in Kindle Create, and you don't have to have a PDF version.
Create. Yeah,
it creates a unique file that Amazon's printing platform is going to recognize and lay out in the right format. And for paperback.
Yeah, and you're good to go. Yeah, and you can do paperback, ebook. It's
now hardcover.
Yeah. So, man. Yeah, here we are. We are in the realm of hardcover, which actually was another one of our topics. Book formats and
let's go over to that.
Versions.
So,
they Amazon offers paperback and ebook, and then they also would tie in audiobook through Audible. But now, and Nick was on the backstage, like ground floor of this for about a year before they actually released it. But now it's officially unveiled. Amazon now offers hardcover.
Yep.
No dust jackets.
Right. No dust jackets.
Just kind of like this, where the image is printed directly onto the hardcover. My question to you is, with a hardcover format, are you tempted to do a different version of the books?
No,
Really?
no,
Okay.
no, because I'm not tempted to do a different version of the books with the audiobook version.
Yeah.
And there's no difference between the books between ebook and paperback.
Yeah.
The only thing, well, I take that back. There, with the ebook
Mhm.
and the hardcover, I think it would be really cool
Yeah.
to have a version that has, because my book is right now it's an 8-book fantasy series.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Nick is the author of the Travelers League, which is this really cool middle grade fiction series written for kids 8 to 12.
Mhm.
It's 8 to 12,
Yep.
7 to 12. Kind of Harry Potter-esque. I always describe it as Harry Potter meets the Boy Scouts.
Yeah. Yep.
It's really cool. It's
Yep.
a fun little adventure fantasy series, good for the whole family.
Mhm.
Very creative, very fun. And you've been doing that for 3 years now?
3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, 3
Thanks.
years. And I think it would be neat to have one hardback title
Mhm.
that had all 8 stories in them. Like once I
Oh,
I
an
have one more.
omnibus.
I have at one, maybe 2, but certainly at least one last story to write in the series, and maybe 2 more.
Hold the
But
phone.
once they're all done,
1 or
I'm gonna
2
have
more?
1 or 2 more. Well, there has to be a final one, but there might be a backstory to book 2 that I might do.
Which one?
Braxo's Escape. I might do a backstory.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
I
that's
might do the backstory to one of to Garapog, the Black Dwarf.
that's so awesome.
It'd be so cool.
See, what I love about this is Nick has fallen into that same blissful trap that all series writers who are worth their salt fall into, which is like it's never over.
It's never over.
It's never done. It's only done when you're dead.
However,
when you
I
decide to
have
walk away
not
from it.
allowed it to keep me from writing other things.
That's true. Nick
I
has
have
branched
written.
out.
I have written. Henry Half Moon. I've written
Yeah.
Hacker Jack. I finished Easel Bancroft.
Did you really?
I need to change the
Oh,
ending, but I
nice.
finished it.
Okay,
And it's
cool.
super short. It's like it's as short as Hacker Jack is. And I'm about a third of the way through a new book.
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
called The Last Unicorn Hunter.
Oh, that's cool.
It's going to be really cool. Yeah, and it's not a part of any of the other worlds.
really?
It's a standalone, kind of like Hacker Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah,
man.
I'm really excited about it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you and Nick's books are fairly short too, like or at least the Travelers League books are pretty short.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, this one's, you can see its thickness. It's a
yeah.
5x8 cover, but it's about 33,000 words.
Yeah. What is that? Like 150 pages, 200 pages?
Yeah,
something
almost
like that?
200 pages. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would make sense for you to do. That would be a good idea. Do a hardcover omnibus
Yes.
edition.
The entire anthology,
yeah.
in hardcover, only in
exciting.
hardcover. Yeah.
Now here's a hard
Christmas
part.
gift.
Yeah, excellent
Be a great
Christmas gift.
Yeah.
What would you do for the cover?
I would pay someone to do a new cover,
Whole new cover.
whole new cover.
Yeah.
For that, I would.
Because every cover,
Well, you have to with a hardback anyway, or hardcover anyway. You have to use a separate cover, a different cover file, because it's different dimensions.
Really?
Yeah, because it wraps in, like with a paperback.
yeah.
There's nothing on the inside, but with the hardcover, if I may,
Yeah.
You can see how it wraps around. It wraps
Mhm.
over the back, and then they cover it with paper. So it's actually, this is the actual edge right here. You can see the edge of what had to be wrapped, and that's the dimension. Once that's all unfolded, that's the actual hardcover dimension.
So could you
have to
take
factor
your
in.
previous cover file and send it to somebody, say like MyBlart, who we use, and say, hey, take this image, but just reformat it for hardcover? And they could
Maybe
extend the margins of it to
I
cover
don't
the
know.
wraparound.
I don't know if they could do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe they could extend it. Yeah, I mean,
You're
probably
effectively
could.
having to pay for a whole new cover anyways.
Yeah,
But if
it
you
would-
wanted to keep the cover image.
Well, the thing is, every book has its own unique image.
Yeah.
Everyone in this series,
Right.
there's the boy on the front of the first book. There's a wizard on the front of the second.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So I think I would want a unique image or logo for the whole series.
Yeah.
On the hardcover,
Should do like
and then an ebook version of it.
what's that? Which one has Old Duppy on the cover?
Oh yeah, the Black Fox.
Oh, dude, that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
with all
He's
the
basically like a
tentacles.
male version of Ursula.
He's like Ursula and Davy Jones.
He is, yeah. Well, yeah,
mixed
he's
together.
Davy Jones, certainly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like my favorite. It's the coolest cover because it's like a tentacle pirate.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
You know, it's so
Yeah,
awesome.
he's a sea god. He's
yeah,
a sea god.
You know, and it like be cool if you had like that, and then at the bottom of all the tentacles, like all the other covers, you know, or all the other images, like tie it all in Dark Tower somehow, you know, like Stephen King's Dark Tower. Yeah, I mean that's it complicates things, you know, going hardcover, but I mean it's worth it.
Well, this is a
It's so
special.
worth
You
it.
did a hardcover, and this is a special edition.
Well, yeah, that's true. We did, yeah. So through Taurus Necros Publishing, we got together and I wrote. I took a bunch of old material that had been cut out of the original version or the published version, and then added a little bit of new material. And we came up with like a special edition that's 600 pages long. I think technically 650, but it's 50% larger than the Amazon version. And we did it in hardcover, and it's really nice. We got like a custom cover that a guy painted for us, younger guy, did a really good job. And then we got together and did a map on the back, and I was not expecting them to incorporate the map into the back, but they did. And it looks really good. And he also did I have a real bad habit of my descriptions or my book blurbs being way too long. And he really actually the guys over at Taurus Necros did a good job of like editing that down to where it was like it's like a third of the actual book blurb, and it ended up being.
I love
like,
that you had the map on the back though. I think it's cool.
that's a smart idea. Map. Yeah, and it's a nice looking map, and we went back and forth on it a lot, but finding the right person for the right job, man. Delegation.
Yeah, definitely delegation.
It's important.
It is. If you want to self-publish a book and you want to give it a chance to sell on its own, you have to outsource creative work beyond writing. The writing should be you. Yeah. But the other stuff, the cover, the maps. Yeah. And if you have the coin, the formatting. Yeah. Definitely you want input from people who do that professionally. Yeah. Yeah.
It really, one thing that surprised me about what Pressfield said is that he said for a while now, even traditional publishing, you have to pretty much come to them with a completed manuscript. Mm-hmm. The days of them giving you an editor who is like your mentor, your partner or something, an in-house editor are kind of like they're over. Yep. It's like you have, even in traditional publishing, you have to go out and find your own editor. And that's right. And that's been, for me, that's been the biggest struggle. I'll tell you, actually, like Adam is a killer editor.
Who's watching now? Yeah. Our narrator from the UK, our good friend Adam Burrell's watching. Hello.
Yeah, what's up, Adam? So Adam's our narrator, and he's narrated all of the Heavenly Realms books, and he narrates all the Travelers League books, and he does an awesome job. He's English, and he's also a really, really good editor, at least for me, because he gets what I need out of it, and he's a fan of the material, or at least he plays a really good fan of the material.
No, I think he likes it. I think he enjoys it.
And he's worth every penny that I pay him to do that. And man, I mean, we've had some expensive editors who,
didn't really give a whole lot. Yeah, the editor that I was using, it just got,
I used her too for Imperial
At first, it was really great, but as time went on, this editor got a little more lax over time. Started missing more things. Didn't start charging less, but started missing more things. And and there are things even now that I will read through one of my books, like, ooh, boy, that is not good. That needed to be edited. So I need to go back, maybe do some rewriting. I definitely need to find a good editor that won't break me financially. But
it's tough.
It is for sure.
And it really depends on what you want out of an editor. Like, do you want a content advisor? Do you want, a reader, a beta reader, or do you want a copy editor,
or do you just want a proofreader?
Or proofreader. Yeah. And I tell, like, Adam and I have a good relationship because he is my audio narrator. So he's already going to be reading this stuff. And I actually just finished yesterday or day before yesterday, I just finished the revision draft of the 6th Angel novel, the second to last one, and sent it over to him for him to start editing. And you know, in my world, because it's fantasy and because things are, you know, certain things are a certain way, I need somebody who's plugged into the text.
Yeah.
You know. And then, but what I really need, even more so than that, is someone who can find the technical errors more so than telling me, you know, how they think something should be worded.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I had that problem with that one editor that you and I had, where 85% of everything that she quote unquote edited was really just a suggestion, not a technical error.
Mm-hmm.
And
you were looking for the technical stuff.
I needed technical.
I needed both.
Well, you know, it takes, and some of the things that she recommended were really good, but the thing is, she wasn't plugged into the material the way Adam is.
Mhm.
So because like an editor really does become like your partner in crime.
Mhm.
And so when Adam comes to me and says like, you know, hey, explain this to me. I don't know why this, you know, this character doesn't really seem like, you know what I mean? Like, when he gives me like content feedback, I trust him because he's a fan of the material, so I know he respects it. You know, he gets it, so he knows what I'm trying to do. We've been working together for a while, and he's not overstepping his bounds. He's like genuinely working towards the betterment of the material, not what he thinks it should be, but what, you know, we both think it should be.
Yeah.
And so it just, that's all part of the, you know, the trial and error that's required as far as the editing process goes.
He actually offered to maybe give some of my stuff a look over.
Oh, sweet. You should
and
totally take him up on it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I may take.
He's worth
you
every
up on
bit
that,
of the
bro.
minuscule amount of money I give him.
No.
It's inordinate.
Yeah, I need that. I need some feedback. You know,
I don't pay Adam enough. It's just,
I
you
know.
Yeah,
I know.
you know, I gotta up the ante for what Adam gets, you know, for his services. But Adam Burrell, yeah, if you if he has his own YouTube channel, Burrell, Adam Burrell, and it's he's done some really awesome stuff with the Heavenly Realms series and the Travelers League. He's done some previews for him where he adds music.
Yeah, and his
to
link
him.
is, I mean, it's in the description of this video too.
Yeah, check
So,
out the description of
It's
the
in
video
the
on
link.
YouTube,
It's in the description of all of our videos.
Yeah. And so yeah, he's awesome. His wife is awesome. She makes resin products.
Yeah.
We got some cool bookmarks. And
we got coasters.
yeah,
We've got bookmarks that she's made. These are great. Yeah, it's awesome.
She's resin by underscore dreamer on Instagram. I think we have her link in there as well. And it's turned into like, just like I thought, man. Like, it's like, dude, you know, in 6 months, like, you know, you'll be doing more than we are.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I hope so.
Yeah,
and I hope so.
Yeah, it's killer.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, that's I mean, that's one of the many pitfalls or issues that you have to face in the self-publishing world. You can't just, you know, you can be done with it and just finish it and publish it, but you know, if you're wanting it to be successful, you have to invite other people in. You know, I mean, that collaborative effort really does.
Yeah.
You know, you can make your own map. You can make your own cover. You know, you can have it be, and it's probably fine. Like that's the other thing. You can make your own map. It's probably going to be good. You can make your own cover, and it's probably going to be good, especially if you are a competent artist. But like the collaborative effort is where like a lot of the magic really happens. You know, like when I initially reached out to an artist on Fiverr for the covers for the Heavenly Realm series, what came out of that was so much cooler than what I had in my head for at least like 2 of the books. And then MyBlart. I used MyBlart.
Yeah,
for the
they're
last
great.
one. Dude, MyBlart is awesome. MyBlart. You know, Adam with his narrations. I mean, Adam does things with the narrations that I would never in a million years think to do. You know, and like a classic example is in Sturm und Drang in the 3rd novel. There's a spoken word poem, or almost like a spoken word dirge that one of the characters gives, one of the angels gives before he's cast out of heaven. And in my head, I was thinking about this the other day. It always existed as like there's a spoken word track on the end of Jesus Freak, the DC Talk album, Jesus Freak.
Yeah.
Where he's like real up close up on the microphone, and it's just very cool and just very, solemn and very easy, and that's kind of how it always existed in my head, because I always liked that track, but then when Adam got a hold of it, he turned it into a song, like an a cappella,
oh wow,
like, Anglican hymn.
Cool.
Yeah, right. Way above whatever existed in my head for it to be, And don't be afraid to be collaborative. Don't be afraid to let go. Maintaining an iron grip, small business owner-itis control over everything is the fastest way to burn yourself out and to have lackluster results.
Yeah, lackluster results. It's like if you're building your own house, it's a do-it-yourself project. You might be able to pour a foundation and erect a frame and do drywall and painting and all that stuff, but you need to pay someone else to do the plumbing. Right. You need to pay an electrician. You need to pay an architect, someone to draw up the plans for you.
Yeah,
those are things you trust to people who are professionals, have been doing it, that know what they're doing.
Right.
For long-term success.
Yeah.
You need to get those people involved.
Well, that's the other thing too. This is part of the entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm not very entrepreneurial. I'm very much like the weirdo, but like the entrepreneurial, the way to succeed in that really is delegation and collaboration in a lot of ways. I have a friend who she does commercial development, real estate, and but she also has some houses that she's flipping, and she has this one house. Like, I was over there yesterday after my day job, helping her clean up this place because it's just months behind. It's way over budget, and because she is in I just need to get it done, so I'm going to do it myself mode, I had to kind of tell her, like, you are also involved in other projects that are potentially worth, you'll make $30,000 in 1 month off of these other projects. This one little house flip that you're going to make theoretically $80,000 on whenever it sells is not worth your time. I mean, she's not even going to make that much. She's maybe going to make 50 grand when it's done, and it's like, this is not worth your time because you have all of these other major acquisitions deals and projects that you could be researching and devoting your time to.
More important irons in the fire.
Yeah, way more important irons in the fire. And the same thing is true for a writer. Like, what is more important for me to do? For me to agonize over a map or learn how to draw so I can have the cover right in my head? Or, or is it more important for me to, like, sit down and write the next book?
Yeah, that's the most
or to
important
edit,
thing. Yeah.
Adam makes a really good point as far as, like, book formats and story versions. He and I came up with this really cool thing where we do, like, I allow, and this is again the beauty of collaboration, I allow Adam the freedom to like sort of do something different with the audiobooks. So like in this last one, he in Wayfarers, in the Fifth Angel book, what's in the paperback version is not the same as what's in the audiobook.
Oh wow. Okay.
Adam does something totally, like, he doesn't always do something different, but there are like little moments.
How interesting.
Right. And I got the idea. So one of the coolest writers I ever was exposed to was a guy named Milorad Pavic. He was a Serbo-Croatian writer from the 70s and 80s. He died about 10 years ago. Really avant-garde, interesting writer who played around with formats. And he had this one book called Dictionary of the Khazars. And it was really cool for a number of reasons. It was very odd and very unique. No one else had done anything like it. Sort of a House of Leaves before House of Leaves, except it was far better. Than House of Leaves is a very juvenile book, but it's one that everybody knows about. It's in the zeitgeist. But he had this book called Dictionary of the Khazars, and there were 2 different versions. There was a male and female version.
Oh, that's cool.
And the covers are the exact same, except on
that's cool.
in the neat and on the spine.
Oh,
of course,
man.
nowadays, there'd be like 3 or 72 different versions, but but on the spine there were
ideas exploding in my head right now.
Right. So there were 2. The only way to know from looking at the books is on the spine there were the gemstones were different colors. For the male version, it was a sapphire. For the female version, it was a ruby.
How cool!
And then And then when you read the book, everything's the same except for 17 lines in the book, somewhere in the book, that are different, and that one
subtle.
little section is crucial, and it changes the meaning of the book.
Interesting.
It's brilliant. Milorad
Wow.
Pavic, Dictionary of the Khazars.
Wow.
He did a bunch of other stuff too. He did a book called Hero and Leander, The Inner Side of the Wind, where it was a love story across time that was sort of a metaphor for the Greek myth of Hero and Leander. Hero is a guy, Leander is Hero is the girl, Leander is her male lover, and she's in the temple of Aphrodite, and he swims across the Hellespont every night to go be with her until the gods get mad and they drown him or whatever. So he wrote a book that was sort of modeled after that, except the girl lived in the 20th century and the guy lived in like the 16th century Russia, like 16th century, like a Cossack, something like that.
Yeah.
And so on one side was when you open the book up, you get Hero's story, the girl, modern day, right? So you read it until you get to the end of her story, which is in the middle of the book, and that's where she meets Leander. And then they fall in love, right? And they're together or whatever. Close the book, flip it over, open it up. Now you're reading Leander's side of the story.
Cool.
And so you get to the middle of the book, reading his version.
Yeah.
And same thing. That's where he meets Leander.
Wow.
And they fall in love, and so it's just interesting stuff like that. So I've always had those ideas in my head. Adam, through our collaboration, has allowed me to live out one of those ideas by telling him, like, it came about from a mistake where he caught something that I had done that was like a technical error. I had a character in 2 places at once.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Yeah.
And so, but it actually was like a character who is kind of a sneaky, like, spy, almost like a wizard kind of assassin type character, like a very mysterious sort of dude. And so I was like, Adam, why don't you do something special? And why don't we do something special for like all the audiobooks from now on? And you just like do your own thing and, make it creepy and just change it up in a way to where it only exists in the audiobook.
Yeah.
And I'll take this out of the paperback. And then, so if you want like the full experience, you can go and get the audio.
That's a great idea. Yeah. So, great idea.
Collaboration.
Let
other people
So
in.
If you are toying with the idea of having alternate versions based on book formats, make sure you're collaborating with people involved in those other formats.
Yeah. Do something different. Invite other people in,
Whether it's a cover designer giving you a different colored gemstone, right?
Yeah.
Or a narrator who's going to do something special for one of your characters,
Yeah, and now because Adam has the 6th book, which actually turned out way better than it actually, the ending is so much cooler than I actually remembered it, because I'd written it like 15 years ago.
Yeah, cool.
So I've like totally forgotten about like some of the stuff in the ending. I'm like really, really looking forward to what Adam does with it.
Nice.
Because I'll tell you one thing too that makes a big difference for the audiobook. You don't have to worry about page count or page numbers or word count or anything like that. For me, in my paperbacks, because of how OCD I am, everything has to be like a certain rounded off number, and I will massage and labor over everything until it is. So like, I'm not going to keep adding chapters. I'm not going to have like one vestigial chapter at the top of a page or something. I'll keep it all. And sometimes that really stalls the production, making it this one particular way to appease this probably stupid part of my brain. But, but with the audiobook, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you can just like, theoretically, Adam could just like ramble for like 10 minutes about something. And if it's cool, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
cares, well, it would be, it would be. With Adam, it would be for sure.
So I'm really excited to see what he does with Primus Illuminati.
So this is kind of a good transition into our next topic.
A segue.
Subplots and revisions.
Yeah. So have you ever in the process of writing or revising or rewriting, have you ever decided I need to add a subplot to flesh this story out more, or I need to remove plot elements to streamline the story? Have you ever had to make any dramatic changes like that in order to bring the vision to fruition?
Well, if you recall, when I was writing book 5, I just had to completely start over. But the first 3 or 4
that's
chapters, the first 3 or 4 chapters remained the same.
Yeah.
But there was a huge change in plot. I have hinted at backstories that ended up becoming their own stories, their own books.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there are subplots.
Yeah.
But not a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of subplots.
Yeah.
There are, in my books, there are usually maybe 2. I kind of go back and forth between 2 main plots. It's usually there's like what the good guy's doing and what the bad guy's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you go
Luke
back and
Vader.
forth, right? And then they,
Yeah.
Cross paths and they have conflict and all those things. But they
Uh-huh.
have their own. They each have their own backstories and each have their own plot. But it's all still part of the one great event.
Yeah.
That is that particular story. But no, I haven't really. I haven't seen a need to take out any subplots
That's good.
because I didn't heavily layer multiple subplots into,
Yeah.
a middle grade fantasy series.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had to did you ever feel the need to add to flesh anything out more with any sort of subplots or side chapters or
Yeah.
side characters?
Yeah, in the young adult paranormal or urban fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Henry Half Moon?
I needed to come up with some subplot for his, death angel best friend.
Oh, that's right.
I had to
Yeah.
kind of weave some of that in there,
Yeah.
which would make a great like backstory or a continuation of
Uh-huh.
the current story. But I did have to add a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
How far into the process did you realize that was needed?
At the moment, I decided that this character was actually going to be an angel of death,
So
and I had to go back and change some things.
right. So are we talking like 50 pages in, 100 pages in? 200
I don't
pages
know.
in?
Yeah, I mean,
A third of the way into the story?
I would say probably maybe a quarter of the way into the story.
That's not too bad.
Friends come along during that part of the story. You're in Act 1.
Yeah.
Best friend comes along,
You're still in
and
that
then as I'm
Mos
writing the
Eisley
best
phase.
friend, and I had the whole thing plotted out. I'm like, and I had a death angel in the plot,
Oh yeah.
in the story structure.
Really?
I'm like, but it'd be so much cooler if this guy who's his one and only friend
Yeah.
ends up being the death angel. But I had to kind of fill that subplot in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did go back just a little bit to tweak some things to make you start to wonder and then reveal it later on. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Fritz is the death angel. And he's hilarious.
It's one of the best additions to the story, too.
I think so.
It's I kind of honestly, it's kind of my favorite part of Henry Half.
Really?
I think so. Like, it's first, I mean, maybe part of that is just like being on the back end and behind the scenes with Nick, watching Nick go through that process, and talking about it. Watching his excitement is kind of infectious, but like it's just a cool part of the story that you don't really expect. You kind of expect, you expect the professor, to be, super knowledgeable of all these occult things and kind of your Obi-Wan Kenobi through this world.
Mhm.
You kind of expect that, the bad guys are bad and and the kid has got like some pretty tough stuff ahead of him, but you don't really expect like the R2 character to be, the Han Solo character in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's a cool.
I appreciate that.
But it's not subversive and it doesn't feel shoehorned. It just it feels organic. But thankfully, you came to that realization like a quarter of the way in, so you were able to kind of go back.
I knew where I wanted to go with it.
Yeah.
At that point.
Have you ever gotten too deep into a story or a project and wish that you had done it a different way and been
That's a
unable
great
to?
question. Oh man. Yes, for sure. But I mean, too deep into a story, into one of, a middle grade, a
Yeah.
short story isn't deep into anything. It's easy to go back and rewrite and change or even write the whole thing over again. But yeah, I've done that. I mean, certainly with, book 5, I got 2/3 of the way through the story.
Oh, wow.
And just felt stuck and I didn't like where it was going. I went back and, as rewrote the whole thing.
That's tough, man. It takes some guts to do that, because it's like, if you've ever written anything substantial, like, man, after 80 or 100 pages, that's a real investment.
Yeah.
And it really is like just lighting money on fire.
Yeah.
It really feels like. Yeah, it feels like a real loss of your investment, because it is. I mean, even if the material sucks,
every one of those mornings sitting in Starbucks at 5 a.m.
Right.
Every one of those mornings for nothing.
Yeah.
For no reason.
All
that sleep I could have had.
All the time I could have been spent doing anything else. Yeah. I mean, that really is kind of the shame of it. That's one reason I've always had such a hard time doing it. I almost don't really do rewrites, because it's just, I almost just like am one and done kind of deal. But part of it is my own weakness, that like it's just too bitter of a tonic to drink, to go back and do a torch and burn up on your whole project and start over from scratch. I've done it. I did it with Empyrean Falling, and it needed to be done. It was the only way to get that series off the ground, was to blow the rocket up and start over.
Yeah.
But I don't. You always say, like, you don't know if you could do that again. You can. You can always do it again if you have to. But God help you if you do, and hopefully you don't. Because but that's tough, man. I mean, and that actually speaks a lot to Nick's discipline, and his maturity level as a writer. And maybe that's part of the reason.
As a new writer.
Oh, yeah, but maybe that sort of segues into what I was going to mention is, you talk a lot about, like, why did I start this in my 40s?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why? Maybe there is. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. Maybe if you had started this in your 20s or 30s, you wouldn't have had the maturity level to be like, you know what, I'm 2/3 of the way into this book, and this is wrong, and I need to go back and I need to start over.
It was hard.
You maybe would have kept plowing through and had some sort of an abomination on your hands.
Yeah, possibly. Well, and I felt like that when I finished Easel Bancroft.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have to go back and rewrite the ending of it, because the way it ends, it doesn't. It's almost like I had this idea in my head of what I wanted this story to be, and when I wrote the ending, I thought, this has no value.
Really?
As a story. Like, I'm not trying to tell anybody a story that ends in any meaningful way.
Oh yeah.
There was no resolution for the shortcomings of the main character, and I'm like, I gotta change this, and I'm in the middle of that right now, trying to rewrite that.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. It's a short story. It's no big deal, but it was a fun distraction that didn't end the way I was thinking
it ended off kilter.
It really did.
Yeah.
But
it's
and I would never publish it. I do not see myself publishing this book. But I think it's a fun short story.
Yeah.
With the right ending, it's a great short story.
Yeah. You think it's publishable with the right ending?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd charge maybe like $3 for it.
Yeah. Is it like
in print?
Is it like a novella?
It's shorter than a novella. It's a short story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? In a lot of ways, short stories can be the hardest things to produce, because you are kind of under a cap, a word count cap, a page cap. And so that determines your pace, and your pace determines your level of detail.
I might submit it to like some competition, short story competition.
That's a good idea. But you know what? Even doing something where you redo the ending, even if it's the third act, as daunting or laborious or draining as that might be, it's also revitalizing because you're where you're supposed to be doing the thing.
Yeah.
You're working where there's nothing worse than working in a place where you're not supposed to be, as a man. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like you're just working on a job that is a waste of your time and energy.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad necessarily, but just it's not where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So let's see. What does Adam say?
Adam says, I have done the same with narration. Got several chapters in.
And gone, nope. Don't like how I'm doing this, and start again.
Yep.
Yeah. Adam. Oh,
yeah.
Buddy. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. With Adam's case, it's hearing his own voice.
Yeah.
And with me, it's like reading my own thoughts.
Yeah.
But now I'm in this great phase where I'm reading my own thoughts and I hear Adam's voice reading my thoughts.
I know.
It's so great.
Yeah,
which is why
Adam has burrowed into our head.
Yeah. Oh, which is why like this book that I'm working on right now, it's not one of the Travelers League books, but The Last Unicorn Hunter.
Yeah.
I can hear him doing some of the voices.
Ah, it's cool.
Yeah. It'll be fun to get his thoughts on it.
I know. It's Adam. Adam? Are there any characters or specific like things as far as either the Heavenly Realms or Travelers League that are examples of that where you've realized like, oh no, I need to go back? I'd be interested. Let's see.
Adam asked if I've heard his rendition of Sentinel. So Adam is the voice of the Travelers League's books 3 through the end, but the first 2 I had narrated by someone else because I didn't know Adam at the time.
Yeah, we didn't have Adam yet.
So I have engaged Adam to read the Timepiece and Brax's Escape books 1 and 2, and he's going to put those on YouTube, on his YouTube channel.
Oh, cool!
In his voice, so he has officially covered the entire Travelers League series. And I haven't reviewed all the audio. I've only reviewed the first like 2 chapters.
Yeah.
But he does one of the characters that I'm really, really excited about. It's the Minotaur, who guards the labyrinth.
Oh, it's one of my favorite characters. Yeah.
Sentinel.
Yeah, the Sentinel. Dude, and he's so awesome.
Adam is really, he's hinted at his excitement of this character.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's an Adam character if ever there was.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Adam, who do you think would win in a fight, the Sentinel or Mazarel? I'll leave that for you to decide. Yeah. No, he says Tempest. He went back and redid after listening back to it. Yeah, and Adam, poor Adam, man.
Didn't he use like a harsh Scottish?
No, or that's Althaziel. He did a Scottish brogue for Althaziel. For Tempest, he did this very harsh rasp, this whispery sort of rasp that I can just hear the pain in Adam's throat whenever he's doing it. And so, like, I know that there are, even though Tempest is a pretty quiet character, I know that when we get to the unabridged version of Empyrean Falling, there are more Tempest chapters.
Send him some lozenges.
Yeah. I'm going to be paying for...
Send him a sack of Ricolas.
Yeah, his... Adam's going to be Ricola across the UK. I'm going to have to pay for his ENT appointments. It's but it pays off. Like he did that, and I don't know what Tempest sounded like originally, but the finished version of Tempest is this very distinctive, very profound voice, and it also, the interesting thing is, I don't even know if Adam picked up on it or not, but Tempest, I mean, I make a bunch of references to it. Tempest is a very like serpentine, snake-like kind of character. He's just he's cold-blooded, he's detached, but he also has a bunch of scars around his mouth. And so that's part of the reason why he wears the face shroud, is to, conceal the scars. And it almost is like a physiological choice for Tempest, for Adam to give Tempest that that character's voice.
You know how we were talking about Old Duppy? Like Davy Jones?
Yeah.
Adam narrated that book, and he said that character was one which took several attempts to get right as well.
Oh, really?
And you have to know that this is the villain.
Yes.
It has to be deep, it has to be powerful, and it has to be sinister. And to put all those things in, he nailed it. I didn't realize it took him several attempts to do it. That's awesome.
Adam's dedicated.
And then he said in the most recent book, the Hoppus Chronicles, the Frump Prince, which is one of the marsh trolls,
Oh yeah.
the prince who's actually a good guy. Like in all,
Uh-huh.
the entire series, the marsh trolls are bad news.
Yeah.
They're a bad race of being.
Yeah.
And in this book, and it's because they're cursed.
Yeah. Right.
So this book is a backstory
Yeah.
to how they got cursed.
Mm-hmm.
And before they're cursed, they're not bad. And they had a prince.
Yeah.
A ruler that was really, really super kind, but he still was had a position of authority, but he was kind, and he's a troll, so he still had that gruff, and Adam absolutely nailed it.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah,
man.
it's great.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I love writing fantasy for kids. It's so fun, man.
It's so
It's so
colorful. You
fun.
just get to indulge all those fun things, and you get to really take the governor off.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about is this going to be embarrassing?
Yeah.
Dude, a 9-year-old's going to love this.
I
Do it.
know. Well, the book I'm working on right now, The Last Unicorn Hunter, it truly was the brainchild of my daughter.
Oh yeah.
And then my son started weighing in as well.
Oh, cool.
And
that's neat. So it's a collaborative effort.
Oh yeah, it's the kids, dragons, unicorns. I know that sounds all very cliche.
Kids love
But
it.
the way we weave that into all these different realms and how they interact with each other, and how it absolutely is counter to what you assume about those tropes.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not, the dragons are not what you expect them to be. The unicorns are not what you expect them to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and the kids and there's a battle between dragons and unicorns, like a war.
Yeah.
And it's not what you expect.
That's
and it's
cool.
and I'm kind of worried that it might not sell because no one's going to buy a book where unicorns are evil.
Right.
But they are
a bunch of snooty,
Yeah.
uppity sort of.
Oh, dude, I can't wait
domineering.
to tell you about it. I can't wait. I'll tell you about it over dinner.
I've actually never Nick is really good at just sitting on things. I'm not good at sitting on things. I'm like, dude, I got this new idea. Let me tell you about it. And then I'll tell you about it every week for the next 6 months.
But you know, I talk about it with my kids. I told my wife. I told other family over Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh, I'm really excited about this book. So I was telling my mom, and I was telling Alex, and So it's hard for me. I can't sit on things either. And I wish I could, because I normally lose my enthusiasm or excitement about something after I've told someone about it. Oddly, but if I just keep it to myself, I keep my mouth shut, I stay excited about it.
You could use
and
it
the
as
secret
fuel.
the secret that I'm gonna drop on people gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Builds. Yeah. That's
so
funny.
I need to just keep my mouth shut.
Can you imagine though, being a kid and listening to Adam's narration of this stuff
awesome.
and being into it, and
yeah,
it's a cool time to be a kid, man.
Very much so.
In a lot in that way, at least. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Let's see. He says that Giad took several attempts as well to get the way he wanted it. Yeah, Giad Althazio, that was the character in Heavenly Realms that he gave the Scottish accent to.
And then he talks about Sentinel. He says, I think Sentinel would take an early lead, but Masriel. Yeah, I'm going to pull this up here so we can read it here. Here we go. I think Sentinel would take an early lead, but Masriel would win. Evil compared to someone who is passionate about his purpose.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Masriel's pretty mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sentinel he's got purpose on his side. That's a tough one. They both got horns too, so it'd be
the Sentinel is not. He's not evil or good.
Yeah, that was a cool thing about him.
He exists for his purpose.
Yeah. He's almost like a he's a security system. He's almost like an AI or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's just there to do a job, and
mm-hmm.
if you're trying to do something that he's there to stop, then he's the bad guy, and you're the bad guy, and if you're not, then he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
and he even
tells a true security guard.
Yeah, absolutely. He is vanquished by the hero in the story. And the hero in the story basically says, I can bring you back to life if you show me what you're guarding.
Mm-hmm.
And Sentinel says, okay, I'll show you what I'm guarding, and then you bring me back to life, and then I'm going to have to kill you and kick you out.
Yeah, that's right.
And they agree. They're like, all right, you can try your
fair.
best. You can try your best. Let's go.
Yeah, all right.
So they come to this agreement.
Gets another shot at it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and he shows them the secret.
Yeah.
And then the hero brings Sentinel back to life. and Sentinel does what he's there to do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the hero, of course, escapes.
Yeah.
But the hero escapes, not holding it against Sentinel for coming after him, because it's just what he's supposed to do. Because what if it's not me? What if it's a bad guy that shows up and tries?
Doesn't he later on use the Sentinel?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
That's a fun book, man. Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's a fun series. Yep.
It's a fun read.
Yeah.
What did Adam say?
Adam says, yes, the famous line, "None shall enter."
None shall leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's great.
Speaking of which, we had another topic in here.
Yes, let's move on to, well, there's a couple.
Yeah.
Let's do retconning. This is something that you wanted to talk about. And it's funny because when Jonathan told me, he was like, let's talk about retconning. I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, that sounds great. What is that? I've never heard that term before.
You sweet summer child.
I know I'm a noob at all this. So Jonathan, tell us, what is retconning?
Innocent, young, good-hearted babe. Retconning is where, in the original version of Empire Strikes Back, Luke falls down the chasm of Cloud City after making his choice to rather die than join Vader. And yet in the special edition of Empire Strikes Back, Luke falls down the chasm in Cloud City after choosing to die rather than join Darth Vader. And on his way down, he screams, "Ah!"
That's it?
Retconning is where you... That's the funny definition. The real version is retconning is where you go back, you retro... I can't remember if it's like retro condition or retro contrivance. It's where you go back and you change things in previous finished work to match with whatever current iteration you have. So,
okay,
I'll give you a classic example. Very minor. However, very minor to most people, a big deal to me. I have a couple of characters who in the first Angel books are cherubs.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Heavenly Realm series, there are two choirs of angels.
Two babies.
Yeah.
Two little chubby babies.
Yeah, two little chubby, with
their little Cupid bows and arrows.
Mm-hmm, their little wings.
And they're naked.
Yep, and their little peepees.
Not a kid's book.
Right, not for kids. Epstein approved.
Oh, I can't wait to get on that topic. We're gonna do a whole. We got to do a whole episode about that. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. That'd be great. Anyway, continue.
So there are cherubim who are like the warrior caste. The big warrior Spartan-esque Roman legionary types, just tough, brutish. And then there are the seraphim, who are the messenger caste, the heralds, the more officerial, softer, the yin and the yang. The male and female.
The Air Force of the angelic
the
military
Marines
forces.
And the Air Force.
Right.
We don't need the Navy and we don't need the
No offense.
And we don't
to my
need
Air Force friends, we do need you.
Yes. Someone's got to drop
They're basically the chair force of the heavenly forces.
Right. They really are. I really did model, the seraphim tend to be more intellectual.
No offense with the chair force comment, because technically F-16s, you sit in a chair to fly one.
It's true. Yeah.
And they're pretty freaking cool.
If I remember correctly, I think the A-10 Warthog is a vehicle of the Air Force. And the A-10 Warthog is the meanest plane ever.
It is mean. It is mean.
It's the coolest.
Yeah.
It is a flying tank. And yet it's also a tank buster.
And its gun.
Yeah.
Is, if I recall, the size of the gun is equal to like a Volkswagen Bug.
Yes, and
it's
when
massive.
It fires, it slows the plane down.
That's so cool. It's so cool.
Fires 30 millimeter.
The Thunderbolt, the Warthog, same plane. A-10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we detour.
We digress into cool stuff.
Oh man, it's awesome. Tank buster.
But yeah, so the Seraphim are kind of like the Air Force. They're they're typically better educated, more intellectual, more operational, more strategic. Tend to be more officerial. They're not as physical.
Right.
They're not usually like your infantry.
Right.
They're not your ground pounders. And you need both. You know, you need, and the seraphim belong to Gabriel, and the cherubim belong to Michael, and so they each sort of have their different groups.
Okay.
And then the cherubim are, you know, more like your Marines. You know, they can be like
They're the ones that belong to Michael.
Yeah, but they're, you know, they're the ones who are down in the mud, you know, just kicking ass and taking names.
Yep.
And they're both awesome, and they need each other. But like, I had this problem where in the first book, maybe in the first couple books, I had a couple characters listed as cherubim, mainly because I didn't really know what to do with the seraphim because it's not my personality type. I didn't really know how to treat the seraphim, and so I kind of gave like all the cool characters the cherubim cast.
Mhm.
You know, I made them all cherubim because it's like, well, I know how to write that.
Yeah, because that's you. I mean, that's like the difference. Oops, sorry. That's like the difference between you and me. I'm more seraphim. You're more cherubim.
Yeah, Nick is more of a chick.
I'm more of a chip. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
How dare you?
I'm more of an F-16 guy.
Yeah, and I'm more of just a.
You're more
knife
of the
in
shock
jungle.
troopers guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more ODST.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm a bullet soaker. That's,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. So.
No, it's true.
God.
And so, but
I mean, I
had,
like
these-
chicks. I still like chicks. Let's be very clear. I
Nick does
still like
chicks.
girls.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This is a great conversation. I love it.
But I did. I had a couple characters who were cherubim just because that was my default. You know, I didn't really know what else to do. And you'll notice, like, in the first book, there is a preponderance of, like, that's actually one of the reasons why I wrote the fifth novel, Wayfarers. The fifth novel, Wayfarers, is like me playing mea culpa to the seraphim and giving the seraphim their dues. You know, because I was like, man, you know, I haven't, as I've gotten older, I've, you know, started to like understand, you know, this character type more that I created, you know, but I didn't really know what to do with. And so I changed it so that a couple of characters are seraphim in the later books. But then when I went back and looked at their like borderline cameo appearances, they are mentioned by name in the earlier books. You know, they're little more than a name in the early books, but they're mentioned as cherubs. So I have to retcon that. Like, and it serves the story. It serves the greater whole of the story for them to be seraphim.
So as a series or story develops, you have to go back and make changes so that they're consistent with the universe that you're building.
Right. And you have to be really careful about that, because you can make some Star Wars special edition mistakes, you know, where you are retconning things that you really should leave alone. But
I had to retcon a couple things because my wife caught them when she was proofreading.
No kidding.
Yeah, and this is post-publication.
Oh yeah.
I had to go back, which is easy to do. Again, self-publishing sucks, but the cool silver lining is you can just upload an updated file.
Yeah.
And it's all taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, which is what I did.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I think I'm starting to understand it.
And if you ever get super popular, then there are multiple versions out there, you know, and like, who knows, on eBay, you know.
Yeah.
That first edition, you know, that first edition where you're all an Azrael or cherubim instead of seraphim.
Dude, I can't wait for the day when my $10 first edition is worth $12.
Worth
I'll have
$11
the big time.
40 cents. Yeah. Now I've made it.
Yeah.
Shuck it, Stephen King. Jump.
Oh, by the way, I invited Stephen King to be on the live stream.
Yeah. Oh, we said no. Yeah.
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 He's like, no.
Mm-hmm. Like, here's a bag of cocaine. How about a nice relapse? But yeah, I mean, that's retconning as a writer. You know, there's nothing that says you can't retcon except getting caught. And getting caught by your audience, you know. And even then, you know, like there are people, like, I'm sort of a Star Wars purist where, like, truthfully, I'd rather have the warts and blemishes and acne and all version of the old VHS copies of Star Wars than anything made after 97. You know,
Agreed.
You know,
agreed.
So I have to carry that in order to be authentic, I have to carry that into my own work and really, really think about like if I need to retcon something. It's one thing to retcon a mistake, you can retcon a mistake where you get to a version, or you're writing one of the later books and you're like, oh yeah, and this character is the leader of the Cordova legions, and you're like, wait a second, I thought he was the leader of the Cordovas, but in this it says the Concordias. Was it the Cordovas or the Concordias? Okay, so now you have a fork in the road. You're like, I can either change what I'm writing now, or what if what I'm writing now is always what I've wanted it to be, but I screwed it up in the past?
It's bad. When your 10-year-old son says, "Wait, Dad, you said the main character was leader of this particular group of the club, which happened in book 3."
Oh, really?
Christian said, "You said that Hoops was the leader of the club knights, not the fox hunters," and I'm like, oh shoot! I had to go back and retcon that.
Right.
I had to go back and change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
self-publishing.
Yeah, self-publishing. And but again, that is a testament to the credit of collaboration, of having somebody else in your world, in your network, to provide checks and balances to sort of, because you become smell blind to your own mistakes a lot of times.
For sure. Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you think you can read your own work, if you write a rough draft or a first draft, and you think you can immediately go back and find all the little mistakes or inconsistencies, you can't do it. You gotta have. It has to be a different human being doing that.
Yeah,
it has to be. For me, it has to be.
The temptation that you run into is, you create inconsistencies with chasing the dragon of whatever dopamine rush you have from your new idea. And so in order to justify the new idea's existence, you retcon the old ideas to be consistent. And that's the weak character decision that you have to make of like, oh, what do? Do I stick to my guns of like the old character, the tradition, or do I change the old thing to justify the new thing? And it really depends.
It's very Lucasarian.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I realized that and I really try never to do it. I'd rather have something flawed than change something. But really, probably about the only time I've ever done it was with those two characters, with Azrael and Ural. Ural originally was a cherub until I got into Wayfarers and realized in order for, because Ural is a character who is like a foil to another character, Melfax, who's like a main character in the story, and they're buddies, but they play off of each other, and they're very opposite. Like one's a mystic, the other's a scholar, and so in order for that disparity, that that opposites attract sort of thing to be accentuated, one needs to be a cherub, who I can't get around changing that,
right?
Because Melfax is in every book. He's a main character. The other, Ural, who's a fairly unexplored character, needs to be a seraph for it to really work.
Yeah.
But the problem is in like the other versions of the early books where he shows up every now and then, he's mentioned as being a cherub. And it's like, well, which is the greater sin? Is it worth it? In this particular case, yes, it was worth it, especially considering that Wayfarers was about the seraphim, and so it makes sense sometimes to retcon, and you hope that your audience doesn't feel that they've been betrayed. It kind of, and there's no way to really get around that, because there are going to be some people who, and you can apply this, like where this really shows up, honestly, is like comic books, from what I gather. Like this is really where retconning is like a real problem, to the point where like they have occasionally they'll reset, the whole universe, the whole multiverse. And you really will have fans who are in love with the concept that like Ural is a cherub, and they'll feel betrayed, but it's just, it's collateral damage that you have to take.
Yeah.
You want to not, you don't want to exist as a tyrant over and lording over your audience and being like, well, now I think that everybody's red, and now I think that, whatever, this is going to be the thing now, and you just have to accept it and love it. Like,
I hate
that's
that.
disrespectful to the audience.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, there are some things where, yeah, right? But there are some times where you kind of have to say, like, no, you know what? Like, this, I'm sorry. Like, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I screwed up.
Yeah.
Your all should have always been a serif. And I made a mistake. It's a minor thing.
Yeah.
So
Adam says that Star Wars should be left as it was intended originally.
Yes.
It is blasphemous to alter anything.
Oh.
Amen. And God bless you.
Preach it, Adam.
And you know what? Yeah, we know that
Hallelujah.
the episodes 4, 5, and 6, right? The very first 3 that came out.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that is like the gold standard of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Everything since has been crap for one reason or another.
Yeah. Except the Mandalorian.
However, I will say this. The one thing that has been consistently brilliant from episode 4 to now is John Williams and the score that he writes for all the movies.
No kidding. Yeah.
It's the glue that
Truly.
holds that whole universe together.
It really is.
Otherwise, I could take 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, flush them down the toilet.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the music, that made me feel like, this feels like the same universe.
Tie it all together more than anything else.
You get the same feels.
Yeah, you do. Well, you have the same themes. You have, how many themes are there in Star Wars? Like half a dozen?
Oh,
7?
at least.
Probably.
At least.
Distinctive themes.
Yeah.
And then everything really sort of plays off of those. He did come up with some original material I guess he's come up with original themes for every one of them. I remember the ones for the prequel trilogy, being distinctive. But even that material had a lot of stuff and it ties it all together. It really is like the ligaments that holds everything.
Adam says the writing of the score is amazing.
Yeah.
It is what makes it real and come to life. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean,
Totally
dude,
agree.
how powerful is that moment when? I mean, even in like episode 1, when they're like retaking the Naboo palace and the doors part and there's Darth Maul.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Darth Maul. And what's it called? Something motif. Can't remember the motif, but where every character has their own musical motif.
Oh yeah.
My wife knows the term for this. It's a classical music term.
Interesting.
But Luke has a theme. Leia has a theme.
Yep.
Han actually has a theme. It's harder to recognize, but it's there. Yoda has a theme.
Yeah.
Maul, Vader, the Emperor, they all have their own unique musical themes
Yeah.
to their character. And when those doors open up and you see
Yeah.
Darth Maul,
Dun dun.
oh,
Dun
dude,
dun.
it is on.
Yeah, it's four
It's
notes.
the best move. It's the best moment of the whole movie.
It really is. Yeah.
That duel, the Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, the Duel of the Fates.
It's the best sequence of that entire film.
I mean, dude, like the choral arrangement was an old Sanskrit poem called "The Battle Under the Trees." Like
Really?
what
I
the
didn't know
choir
that.
is singing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really weird. But but I love what I love about that moment is like Natalie Portman's character, like Amidala's reaction is the audience's reaction, where she looks and she sees Maul and she says, "We'll go around."
Yeah.
Or we'll take the long way. It's like, yeah, you will.
It's
Yeah.
my fantasy for someone to look at me like that
Yeah.
and be like, I'll go that way.
I'll go
I'm
that way,
okay.
yeah.
No, you're right. You can have the.
Yeah.
This is yours.
You guys have something that you got to work out.
You can
between
have all
yourselves.
this.
Yeah, this you can do whatever you want here.
It's like every man's
There you
fantasy
go.
for the doors to open up the elevator at the office, and they see you, and everyone just parts.
Yeah. That's that's kind of what I had at Waste Management.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
brilliant because
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that, but that would be amazing.
Well, you just have to,
Now I say I do have that when I open my kids' room when they're supposed to be cleaning it,
yeah.
and they're in there and I hear them, they're laughing, they're playing with Legos, they're supposed to be
You
cleaning it
show
up, and I
and
open it
everything
up,
gets quiet.
dun dun,
Dun, dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
and the belt comes out,
Yeah.
no, I don't.
It's time for everybody.
And they start working pretty fast, I will say. So I have that over my kids.
You
At
know what? You
least
do.
I have command over my own
That's where it
children.
matters.
That's
That's where it matters. Yeah,
You're welcome,
the trick
society.
to accomplishing that in the office is to be irascible and unapproachable. And if you're high enough on the disagreeability scale, people will leave you alone. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
will fear you and they will avoid you, and then you don't have to hear about their weekends
That's brilliant. I will say this though.
because I don't care.
I will say this though. other people don't at my work.
Yeah.
They don't bother me.
Oh yeah.
They
that's
don't
good.
not bother me as in interrupt me, because that just happens naturally.
Sure.
Because you have to,
Yeah.
but they don't get on my, they don't irritate me.
That's
They
good.
don't. Yeah, I love everyone that I work with. However, in most scenarios, at
Mhm.
most workplaces, there's that friction there, and you just want people to shut up and leave you alone. And let me do my job and stop telling me about your grandson's cat who's sick, or whatever it is. Like, I'm trying to do my job here.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You know,
Don't talk to me.
You know what I'm not here for? I'm not here to get paid to listen to the story about your sick cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the people at work who do tell me those stories, I actually like them.
Yeah.
I actually like them. So
You
I
have
don't
a
mind.
rapport.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've earned it. I mean, they're good people. I
Yeah.
mean, the company I work for, they work really hard to make sure that they hire like really high caliber people, clearly. But
there it is. That's
but-
what I like to see in Nick. Yeah.
but they're all really fantastic people. So it's okay. They want to tell me about the weekend. Yeah, sure, cool. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
fine.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am blessed.
Yeah, good.
I'm pretty lucky.
Adam says, "See Sentinel. I will go around."
Yeah, exactly. Sentinel's one of those guys.
Yeah. You see
You
the
know?
Sentinel and you go,
He comes out
Adam's
of the portal.
right, yeah.
He comes out of like the red portal.
Just
Technically,
thundering
there's
out
like
of the
this portal
shadows.
in the wall of the labyrinth, this glowing,
Yeah.
disc, and from it emerges this minotaur.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll go the other wrong way.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. You know what? I'll just keep exploring. I'm sure there's another maybe not nice horns. Bye.
Yeah, and there's a guy who learns that the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have any other topics?
We had one more topic, and that is Amazon ads. This is really important for self-published authors because
Oh yeah.
the easiest way, the most direct path to being to writing a story and getting it out there,
Yeah.
for print on demand is through Amazon.
Yep.
And which, if that's all you want, that's great. You can do that. But if you also want to if you want your book to show up in people's searches,
Mhm.
you have to run Amazon ads, and it's more difficult now than it was when I started 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a lot more because
It really is.
because
Yeah.
the last 2 years, choosing my word carefully, has resulted in a lot of people being stuck at home, not
Mhm.
being able to work, and looking for other things to do. So they have written and self-published many works.
Yep.
There has been an enormous saturation,
Yeah.
which has driven the cost of running ads through the roof.
Yeah.
So for example, the way Amazon does it is you create an ad for your book that you've published.
Yeah.
You give Amazon, in this ad that you set up, you give it a bunch of keywords that people might search when looking for something like your book.
Mhm.
And search results come up, and they will, at some point, they might see your book on that page of search results.
Mhm.
And so that keyword, right? You have that keyword that they searched, they see your book. If they click on your book and go to your book sales page, you pay whatever you bid for that keyword. As an example, 3 years ago, let's say the keyword Harry Potter.
And the bids are all competitive.
Like Harry Potter, you search Harry Potter. Oh, look, there's the timepiece too.
Mhm.
So Harry Potter 3 years ago, maybe 45, 50 cents.
Yeah.
If someone they went to the Harry Potter search results and they saw my book and clicked on it, I would pay 50 cents. Now, they might buy the book, they might not. If they do, I would make a $2 royalty. I spend 50 cents to make $2.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, that same keyword, Harry Potter, is like $3.50.
Yeah, it's a loss lead.
Every time they click on, not buy my book, but
Yeah, just
click
click on
on my book, I've
Yeah.
already spent more in advertising than I would ever make in royalty.
Yeah.
That's how saturated it is right now.
Yeah.
There's so many people using these keywords.
Are they going to change that at all? Do they have any?
Well, they did make one
Plan.
recent change that is worth exploring. Is that they are now, if you have any old ads running still, any old ad campaigns, if you go to that ad and open it up and you go to targeting where it shows you the keywords that you entered, they will have a little section there called suggested keywords.
Okay.
Meaning they've been monitoring your book, they've been monitoring your ads, and they're saying, hey, a lot of people who search these particular suggested keywords might find your book if you use them as well.
Yeah.
And so you can add those suggested keywords to your list.
They're trying to feed
I-
into the
yeah.
algorithm with effective, nutrient-dense keywords.
And so I've been doing that. I went back to all my live campaigns, and I have about
I
a
need to do
dozen
that.
live ones. I have 50. I have at least 50 Amazon ad campaigns that I've run. There's about 12 that actually get results.
Yeah.
And I've added these suggested keywords at a low bid.
Yeah.
And
What is a low bid?
a low bid for me is like
25 cents?
yeah, 25 cents, 30 cents, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, unless I have an ad that I'm willing to overspend on temporarily just to promote that particular book.
Yeah.
Which I don't do often. But I've actually seen some results from that.
Yeah.
From using these suggested keywords. Hey, Amazon says, hey, Nick, we've been watching your book for a while. We think it, and people who like your book, your kind of book,
Yeah.
typically search using these keywords. You should use these in your ads.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that. And I set a low bid, and it's helped a little bit. It has
Good.
bumped it up a little bit. And I will say that a lot of people get so hung up on looking at the Amazon metrics for one ad. And I spent more than I made from sales on this one ad. And they don't look at your overall sales across your entire series.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a mistake. If you're spending $5,
Yeah.
If your ad cost is $5 in, let's say, a day,
Mm-hmm.
and you only made $1.50 that day from that ad, that does not mean your ad isn't working. What you need to do is you need to look at your totals, like book report.
Yeah.
Look at your total sales.
Yeah.
Because you probably made more than $5.
Right.
Because these people are searching. If you have multiple, this is why it's important to have a series, not just have one book. I only run ads on book one.
Oh, really?
And I sell all of the other books.
Off of
The timepiece. This is the only one I run ads on.
So that's the latchkey.
Yep.
It gets
Yep.
smart.
So this will get shown several
that's good
times.
advice.
They might buy it, and then they come back and buy the other ones.
Yeah.
Or they might search the timepiece just to find book 2.
Yeah.
So I don't run ads on books 2, 3, 4, and so forth. I only run them on book 1 and make it obvious that it's part of a series.
That's really good advice.
Yeah. So look at your overall sales, and then look at your ad spend and compare those two things. Don't focus on all the metrics just for that one ad campaign.
Yeah.
Because I am spending less on my ads than I am making in royalties, which
That's
is
good.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say to anyone who's dabbled with Amazon ads, don't get too discouraged. Just look at the big picture. Don't get hung up on one ad. Run lots of them and run low bids. Run lots of them, and then look at your overall book sales and look at it over a period of a month, and to really determine if it's working or not.
Do you regret doing ad campaigns for your other books in the series?
The only ad campaigns I ran for other books in the series was for book 3 specifically, because it has dragons in it.
Oh, okay.
And dragons are hot.
Yeah, right.
And when they find that
So
book and they
hot
click
right
on
now.
it, they're like, oh, this is book 3 in a series. So they'll go back to book 1.
Yeah.
Other than that, I took the advice of people who know way more than me about running ads.
Yeah.
And they say, just run ads on book 1
Yeah.
and watch your sales. If you have a series, just run ads on book 1.
That's interesting. That's smart.
And so I've been doing that since day one, except for I have one ad. I have one ad for book 3 because people like dragons.
People like dragons.
And it's on the cover.
Yeah.
So, they see it. Oh, this is a kid's book about dragons. So they click on it. And,
Yeah.
oh, it's part of a series. I'll get book 1. And normally these people are like Kindle Unlimited subscribers.
Oh, yeah.
So you get paid on page reads.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So-
dude, that's nice.
Yeah.
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 See, that's really good advice. I've watched it. It has been it's actually comical. Makes me laugh. I had a pretty good month in October for me. And then
Awesome.
literally nothing, not a single thing in all
Dude.
of November. Was November bad?
Awful.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I thought October, November, December, this is like
It's
this,
hard for me to
This is
gauge
the
this because,
quarter
like-
for book sales.
Really? Yeah.
But November was pitiful. October and November for me were pitiful.
Really?
Yeah, this year has been awful.
Yeah. Well, it's hard for me to gauge it because my books are so niche oriented. Like, it's a very specific market. Nick's books are much more end user friendly. It's middle grade fiction. Like middle grade fiction tends to sell well. It's a good market to be into. Nick is a much better canary in the coal mine than my results are. So like,
I think you need to build I think you need to do it by email. I think you need to personally.
Oh,
And I need to get back on this.
That MailChimp is something I have not really explored a whole lot, but I really should.
I would, especially with as difficult as it is to run Amazon ads with, and get results.
Yeah.
I think a way to shortcut that is to run Facebook ads, not on your book,
Yeah.
but on your email list. Run Facebook ads to build your email list.
Oh,
By giving something away in exchange for an email,
Mhm.
build a list, and then every time a new version or a new book comes out, email your list. These are people who've already
Yeah.
indicated, hey, I am interested, and I've read book one or a part of book one, whatever you gave them for
Yeah.
free to sign up. This is a group of people that have already expressed enough interest. These are qualified leads, so
Yeah.
to speak. These are definitely people that are going to be interested in what you have to
It
say.
almost becomes like a sales job.
Yeah,
at that
it would be
point.
better to spend, $100 on a Facebook ad building your email list
Yeah.
than it would be $100 on Amazon ads
Yeah.
to sell your book directly.
That's the funny thing. Like your Amazon, you still pay that Amazon bill every month.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Depending on what ads people have piggyback on.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what you've sold, if anything.
Yep.
So I paid for Amazon ads for November with not a single, not even a KDP royalty.
Yeah.
It just, and it angers me for Adam's sake, like when I think about it, I kind of expected it for me. I always expected this not to be, a really popular series, but when I see like the amount of effort that people like Adam put into it,
Mhm.
and I think like, gosh, like he really deserves, or even like, the special edition, like the Taurus Necros edition here, like when I see how much effort other people have put into it, it's hard not to get indignant for their sake.
Yeah, and I've looked into this just barely, but what's frustrating about AMS, Amazon's advertising platform for authors, is that, to my knowledge, you can't run an ad for an audiobook. You can run an ad for an ebook. You can run an ad for a paperback.
That is weird.
Hardback, but you can't run an ad for the audiobook. And that drives me crazy because there's so much more margin. Like you make so much more royalty in an audiobook, you and the narrator.
And it's so much more prolific and ubiquitous. It's way more popular.
Yeah.
The audiobooks are way, at least with certain demographics. Like with my demographic, fighting age males, most of my friends, most of people who might be interested in this have day jobs where they're either, working on a job site, or they're working in an office, or they're just working, or they're driving. And so like everybody listens to stuff when they do those jobs.
100%.
So
Absolutely.
it's like,
there's got to be a way, and I think they're probably going to be. I don't know this for certain, but I think they're going to be developing something like that soon. And there might be a way to run like Audible ads.
Yeah,
on Audibles. I need to look into it more. But I would like to be able to direct people to the audiobook format, the audiobook sales page of all the books. That's what I'd want, because for Adam's sake, or for your narrator's sake, I have a couple other narrators, Henry Half Moon, the Mermicorn, So I have other narrators who would benefit from that too. But I'd like to direct traffic specifically to those pages because they'll make more. The narrators will make more money. I'll make more money, from the sale. But Audible's been really screwy. Like they've had some policy changes. They've gone back and forth on things, and they need to get their act together.
Interesting.
Yeah. They need to get their act together because audiobooks are huge and only growing in popularity.
It's always changing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Always changing. And it almost has to become your day job in order to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
That's why like a lot of the successful self-published authors, like if you notice the age range of those people, like they're not usually in their 20s and 30s and 40s. they're usually in that like retirement age.
Mm.
Or if you like do an investigation on like where they're at in life, like they have enough disposable income to where they don't have a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
They don't have a 9-to-5 job with 2 kids and a spouse and a mortgage and a lawn that needs to be mowed and and a water heater that needs to be fixed. Like they have time.
Yeah,
they
that's
have
true.
time to sit
That's
around
true.
and game all of this.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
And you know what, too? And I'll say
kudos
this.
to anybody who's like in that position who is doing the work.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you someone who is Rebecca Lang.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Oh yeah.
She promotes her books using that platform.
Yeah.
And she has an enormous following. And she's got a new book coming out soon. She's working on it right now, but she agreed to be a guest.
Oh, cool.
On the live stream. So we can ask her about how to use the Instagram platform to promote books.
Yeah.
Because her page is awesome.
Good idea.
She's always doing hilarious things on there.
I mean, that's
she's a clean Christian fiction author,
and successful
and successful, doing well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
she's great. Rebecca Lang.
Rebecca Lang.
Yeah, she's good.
I gotta look her up. So.
She's from the UK as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, we've talked about her before.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. That's gonna be fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for our topics. Let's our camera batteries due to die any moment. Let's move on to one-offs.
Yeah, typewriter one-offs.
Yeah, let's get down here. We go.
Every week, Nick and I do a one-pager on our typewriters, and then we bring it in and we read it live, unfiltered, naked, raw. We're about to disrobe right now. It's ostensibly a one-pager. It usually, for me at least, because I tend to dabble in double space, it ends up being a 2-pager. And then Nick and I determine who goes first by doing rock, paper, scissors, because that's more fun. And we leave it up to God and chaos.
Absolutely, leave it up to the fates.
Yeah, leave it up to the fates. So, all right, you ready?
Ready? I'm ready.
1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
You go first.
He tends to win. All right. More crumpets, please. Lady Farnsworth always asks for more crumpets before she leaves. I go to pour her another cup of tea while Evanshire, as fast as his old bones can carry him, fetches us another serving of crumpets. Oh, no, dear, Lady Farnsworth tells me, placing her hand over the teacup like a lid. Any more Earl Grey, and I'll be denser than driftwood. It occurs to me that such is already the case, but one does not give voice to such impure thoughts when in the presence of Lady Farnsworth. So I silently rescind from my tea-time faux pas and set the kettle back upon its doily, awaiting a future deployment that will not launch this eve. I should like to see those reports you spoke of from the monk, I tell her. If the belfry came down in the winter of last year, as he says, then old Tavington Jones could not possibly have taken his spill there, as the inspector says. Lady Farnsworth sputters and guffaws, creasing the hem of her church dress and looking at everything except for me. Inspector Matthews is my cousin. He would not lie. She says this as if those thoughts are somehow connected. Snooty old bat. Yes, well, all the same, I tell her, if what you say about the monk's eyewitness testimony is not distorted by aged memory and frail diet, then there is a disparity here that warrants further review. Well, Lady Farnsworth exhales, gobsmacked. I never. She stands to leave. No, Lady Farnsworth, I tell her, rising from my armchair and producing my pipe. I never presuppose anything. Nor do I take someone's word for granted, just because they are a constable or clergy. Or landed. Tavington was not a good man, but he was a citizen of the realm, and that affords him justice. The cold of winter may have rendered the ground too hard to leave an impression upon impact, but your attempt to gild the lily here with the monk's accounting has uncovered a disparity that leaves tendrils of smoke. And where there's smoke, Lady Farnsworth, there's fire. By the time I am finished, she is out the door. Evanshire arrives back in the study with a fresh tray of crumpets. Fashionably late as always, old man. Yes, sir. Very good, sir. I take one and dunk it in my tea. God save the Queen, I say. And Lord help the powers that be who have orchestrated the murder of the Belfry of Brunswick.
Yes. I love it. I
Are
love
you
it.
happy, Audrey? I did a frilly little English countryside
You know what?
murder mystery for
You know
you.
what, though? You
The
know what?
softer side of things. There you go.
Well, it was well done. It was well done. And I bet Adam loved it. And I bet
That's
and
right,
Audrey
yeah.
loved it. I love it. It's great. You know, I was telling Rihanna this the other day. So last year, right, I got COVID in like late January. I got sick. Okay, don't strike
Yeah.
me because I said I got sick. I
Yeah.
recovered, thank God.
Yeah.
But I got COVID in January,
Mm-hmm.
and as I was recovering, you know, it's a 2-week process. You know, you have to quarantine and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Downton Abbey.
Oh
right,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and raved about the father culture and the good themes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I also watched a movie called The Man Who Invented Christmas, about how Dickens comes up with a Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Those two, so the movie The Man Who Invented Christmas and the series Downton Abbey, watching those two things put me in the best, like I was in the best
Dickensian English mood.
frame of mind. Like it just, I had like the best lifted spirits, you know. Plus I was like, I had like all this like new natural immunity. I wasn't sick
Yeah.
anymore. I was feeling on
You
top
were
of the
a
world.
survivor.
I love it. I love that
You were
stuff.
cleansed. You
I
were
love
born again, baby.
Yeah, man. So that type of stuff, it has its place. It makes people feel good.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something
I like
about it that's always attractive. There's always a draw to that.
That's what
you
people
know?
love about England.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, just the old cottage, in the countryside.
Heck yeah.
It just whether it's Skyfall or whether it's the training in Band of Brothers or whether it's
Ooh, yeah.
Doctor Who crashing in on Amy, it just it's so awesome. It's an aesthetic that it'll never die.
Yeah.
It'll be it's the coolest thing. Now Adam feels a little differently about it than I do. I personally am in love with I don't idolize it, but I really, really love that old Cold War Monty Python era aesthetic of British culture.
Mm-hmm.
Red telephone boxes, tweed matches,
Yeah.
all that stuff is like
Imagine Mad Men in Great Britain.
yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
That like late,
cool.
late 70s, early to mid 80s
Mhm.
kind of aesthetic. It is really cool, and it's effectively been done away with now.
It's too bad.
Yeah, because it's really neat.
It's unique.
Yeah, it's
lot of
very
character.
unique. And as an ungrateful colonial, I still think it's pretty cool.
I do too.
So, but
All right, I'm gonna put my headphones on just to
yeah.
make sure
yes.
I'm not misreading this, so I can hear myself.
As my father would put it, that's smelling your own fart.
I'm smelling my own fart right now, or listening to it rather. All right, the Restream says no one's watching right now, but Rosanna Butler is, and I believe Adam is still watching as well.
Yeah.
Okay, here's mine. This is actually an advertisement that I wrote.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Ready for this?
Oh, wait, before you do,
Yep.
let me have the keyboard and mouse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here you go.
Communicate.
Absolutely. You will need this, and you will need the mouse pad.
Stand by while we experience technical difficulties. Dun, 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 dun,
Please stand by.
dun, dun,
I'm getting hooked on my own stuff here. There we go.
dun, dun.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for still hanging on there with us, Adam.
Okay. It's off.
Here we go. Dear Dickens, not much has happened in literature since you died 152 years ago. So rest assured that you're still on top as the GOAT. However, there is this new book series called Harry Potter. And while the title leads one to suspect it's about a grown man's bowel movements, it's actually not about pooping at all. It's a children's fantasy book series, if you can believe it. Harry Potter is a boy who goes to a magical school to learn how to cast spells, summon the dead, fly on broomsticks, and form bonds of fidelity with witches. Sounds wholesome. And there is magic on every page, which is so incredibly lazy. Yes, let magic solve all your problems. That'll teach children how to get on in the world when things get tough. Basically, Harry Potter is like a Christmas Carol, only without character development, moral themes, or Christmas. Or carols. That's basically what we're dealing with here. Its author is one J.K. Rowling. Or Rowling. Maybe it's Rowling. No one seems to actually know. But J.K. are the author's initials, and I believe they are some secret satanic acronym. Could possibly stand for Jesus Killer, or perhaps Junk for Kids. And get this, the author is a woman. Now I know what you would be thinking, and you're right to be glad you're dead. Anyway, The Harry Potter is one of the best-selling books of all time. I think it's like on the top 5. But don't worry, Chucky, you're still on the list, right alongside J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, there's a man who knew how to write wizards. What's most absurd about Harry Potter is that I think it's based on the movie. What's a movie, you ask? Well, it's a bit difficult to explain, but imagine paying a king's ransom to sit in a crowded, dark room with a bunch of total strangers and watch all the dark, terrible images that go through an author's mind illuminated on a huge silver screen. Anywho, to base a book on a movie franchise is enough to make any legitimate novelist cringe. I mean, talk about empty calorie twaddle. Ugh. But you know what's not twaddle, Chucky? Well, there's this new kid in town named Nick Goss. He's self-published, but don't roll over in your grave quite yet. You see, Nick Goss wrote something I think you'd really appreciate. It's a children's fantasy book series called The Travelers League, and it's actually pretty good. No, it's not based on any movies like Harry Made by a Woman Potter. But it is full of moral themes, character development, and classic storytelling. And you can buy it on Amazon, in paperback or ebook. Sorry, Chucky. Amazon is a digital jungle that will destroy you if you spend too much time in it. Just like the real Amazon, only you go there to buy things. It's like a shopping safari in the safety of your own living room that leaves you depressed and penniless by the time you escape. Anyway, the Travelers League has raving reviews, and children can't seem to get enough of it. And if you were still alive, I'm sure you'd approve. Until next time, Chucky, your devoted fan, Nigel Pennington III.
I just want to give a massive shout out to Nigel Pennington III as being perhaps the voice of a generation. Perhaps maybe my favorite character that you've ever created.
Oh, thank you.
Where did that come from?
You honestly want to know?
Yeah.
You know my friend Michael?
Yeah.
He said, you need to, if you ever start a new YouTube channel, you need to like call it the Ascot League.
Oh yeah.
And you need to, like, it needs to be just you dressed in an ascot and a tweed jacket, being pretentious.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought,
Michael.
you know what? I could do that. And not,
100%.
and he said, his name should be Nigel like Pennington. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that. And he goes, and I'm like, oh, and I could make him talk like trash talk super successful books, comparing them to Dickens, how they're all trash. Nothing is Dickens. Nothing is Dickens. But the Travelers League self-published book series is actually pretty good.
But it's actually,
Yeah.
this is pretty good.
Yeah,
You know what's
Nigel.
funny is,
So
like,
I think I might do that.
I know people who fetishize Dickens to the point where like they would be like, oh yes, Dickens. Oh yes.
I know.
And they're all American chicks.
Yeah, of course
So,
they are.
Yeah.
And they'll have kids.
Yeah.
And they'll need something for their kids to read.
It's so genius. Adam, how funny would it be if like we started a separate series where like Nick and I pretended to be stereotypical, like snooty British, just fops and
Tweeds and ascots, baby. We
yeah,
could do it.
tweeting that, and then Adam pretended to be. He played a character where he was like, just a stereotypical American,
Oh, that'd be great.
and we were like a book club.
That's great, dude. The Ascot League.
The Ascot League,
Dude.
There's a whole other. There's so much potential here, Adam.
I'm
How much time do you have?
gonna make the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I'm
Dude,
gonna
that'd be
make
so
it.
much fun.
I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, I don't know when we'd do it, but like that would be so worth it.
It'd be
It'd be really it'd be really fun if we like.
We're always in
transitioned-
character. We're like the whole time we're in character.
Yeah. Adam, please tell me you're down for this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you got to be down for this.
Dude, Adam, you're in 100%. I would love it. Like, it'd be so much fun if Adam just played like this, this like just NASCAR redneck, just complete clueless
An Englishman
American,
doing his best, like
Southern
raw, just
beer swilling.
lowbrow American.
Yeah, just inbred.
And
buck-tooth.
we're like lowbrow Americans
Yeah.
doing our best snooty English impressions
Yeah.
the whole time.
It's just a couple of inverted stereotypes.
Dude, I think
you
we're
know,
on to something, man.
Doing book reviews.
Yeah, book reviews, exactly. Yes. Oh, books and movies.
Yeah.
Or movies based on books.
Yeah, movies based on
Only we don't know
Right.
that. We think the book is based
we
on the movie.
we think the book is an adaptation of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I read that to Rihanna, she's like, Harry Potter's not based on a movie. I said, I know, it's the joke.
I know that's the joke.
She's like, you might
Yes.
want to change
That's
that.
why women don't make good comedians. Man, we almost made it. Oh, we were doing so good. We got so close until Jonathan
So
just
close.
Just had to stab life right in,
That's great.
stab my soul just right in the day.
That's great. I can't believe the camera hasn't
We haven't
died yet.
even-
We're
I
at
know,
2
we
hours
haven't
and
even
11
had the
minutes.
potato cam after
Oh
this,
my
so-
gosh.
Adam, we're gonna have to coordinate this. You know what would be really fun is if we did the thing where like the Goslings existed almost purely as an interview channel,
Yeah.
and then the Ascot League existed purely as a review channel, and that's all we did.
Oh man.
Those are the only two things that
And we would only do the Goslings when we had
when
a
we
guest.
had an interview.
Yeah.
When we had a guest.
And then like we would live stream the Ascot League.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it'd be so great. And you know it'd
So
be
much
great?
fun.
Like I bet you there are other authors out there that'd be like, I'm gonna get in character and join them.
Oh yeah, we
You
could
know?
have fun with
Oh,
that.
dude, it'd be great.
You know who John Bernardo would probably be in on that.
Oh, he would be brilliant.
Wouldn't he be fun to
Oh
have?
yeah.
Even if he didn't play a character, just to have him there.
Yeah.
Or like treat him like have like almost like a between two ferns.
I was
thing.
just thinking that.
Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis, he's in that character.
Yeah,
Like
where
he's
we're in
interviewing like
character.
Barack Obama. And he's like,
Yeah.
so tell me, what is it like to be knowing you're going to be the last black president? What's it like being the last black president? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, what is it like interviewing the last president you'll ever interview? You know? If we could do like a between two ferns type. Oh man, yeah. We got a lot to talk about
Yeah.
over nachos.
I think so.
Dude.
This is awesome. Adam, you're in on this,
Yeah.
right? Like we gotta have you. This would be so much fun. This is the future of our YouTube. our
Dude, it's the
YouTube
future
life.
of YouTube.
Yeah, I think so. I
Oh
love it.
man. Awesome.
Adam says he was on his soapbox the minute you said Harry Potter.
I knew he would
so
be. I knew
yeah.
he'd appreciate that. Yes, sir.
That's
Yes,
'cause you-
sir.
That's because you're cool, Adam. That's why. That's because you're cool, dude.
Yeah.
What more do you want? Well, if you've enjoyed this romp through our psychological nethers, and then you are welcome to subscribe to the Goslings on YouTube, which is where you're watching this later on, not live, except for two people who love us.
Who
Actually,
we
one
also
person-
love and appreciate.
One person who loves us despite ourselves, and the other person who dropped in who may love us. We don't know. Thank you, Rosanna.
Who still dropped in and made a comment, which we
we
appreciate.
appreciate that. We're also on Rumble. You can subscribe there. The Goslings, Gosslings, and we're on Spotify and iTunes as well.
Mhm.
So
And in case you didn't know, now that we have a whopping 100 plus subscribers on
Yeah.
YouTube, which you're
big
like,
time, baby.
that's nothing. But for us, it's huge. The cool thing about that is we have our own URL now, so you
Yeah.
can literally search the youtube.com/the Gosslings,
Yeah.
and you'll find us easily.
And if you
We are
really enjoy
somewhat
our content,
discoverable.
then you can also go to our Teespring page
Yep.
and the-goslings.creator-spring.com.
Mhm.
And we got a bunch of t-shirts there, including these, as you see right
You
here.
can't hack a typewriter.
Yep. Every time a bell rings, a demon's laptop dies.
Nice.
Along with all aliens are demons
Mhm.
and
And
various other.
And write like a man. Use a
Right, like a
typewriter.
man, use a typewriter.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can go to the Teespring channel and support your love and show your dedication to the Goslings. No one will know what you're talking about, but you will get a lot of compliments when you're standing in line at the liquor store.
That's true.
They
That's
can
true.
personally attest to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and if someone, and salesmen, it gives salesmen something to talk about to try to sell you something.
that's right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, the Goslings, what's that? Hey, do you
Yeah.
have AT&T or Spectrum?
Yeah. Neither. Go away. Yeah. So, anyways.
Speaking of which, I just want to say, I haven't announced this to anyone, not even my wife, but now I'm doing it because, she's probably watching this, or at least at some point I'm going to tell her later. But we're going to upgrade our connection here. We're going to upgrade
cool.
our internet.
Yeah.
We'll get a little faster speed, hopefully
Nice.
have less issues streaming.
Yeah.
That should be happening within the next couple of weeks.
We
I got
have
the
had
install
issues
schedule.
for the past few months with resolution. The
Mhm.
resolution dips out every few seconds, and it's not a problem if you're listening to it or if you're watching the clips. But if you watch the live stream in its entirety, then you'll notice the resolution bounce back and forth. So
Mhm.
yeah, good.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. They just installed fiber in our neighborhood here,
Oh, cool.
so
Okay.
we'll be able to get quicker uploading.
All right.
Yeah, through that,
Nice.
which is great. So, and it won't cost me an extra dime.
Really?
Yeah. So it was
Sweet.
time. Yeah.
All
So,
right.
so all good news there. And
Good.
I don't think I have any other news. You went over the t-shirts. You went over the Rumble, Spotify. I think we're good, man.
Yeah.
Hope you guys like the one-offs. And next week we won't be here. Oh, we got something on the chat. Let's see. What do we got here? It is Adam said, have a great week. You guys, speak to you both during the week. Sounds great. We'll stay in touch all throughout the week. We're off next week. Planning on returning the following. We may have a guest. We may not. January is going to be awesome, though.
Yeah.
I know for sure we have John Anderson.
Yeah.
Possibly Rebecca Lang.
Yeah. Cool.
And there are some other people, too, that have that we may have on.
Yeah, we got
So
some stuff in the works that's going to be pretty interesting.
2022 is going to be fun.
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to have a lot of
Yeah.
cool guests. It's going to be politically crazy.
Yep.
We might take advantage of that. Yep. Yeah, we might go a little more topical, month to month. So to
Adam's
speak.
already getting in character. He says, "You promised me moonshine if I read this book."
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good.
Where's my mason jar?
You promised me moonshine. Have you read this? Oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
Now
so-
you got to have like a trucker hat
Yeah.
with like a
Mm-hmm.
airbrushed bald eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Airbrush bald eagle, or Donald Trump riding on the back of a bald eagle, and it's all airbrushed, holding
Yeah.
a machine gun. He's bare chested.
He's naked.
He's basically Putin
Yeah, he's basically Putin. Yeah.
on an eagle.
American Putin.
Yeah.
Yeah. American Putin. And Jesus is behind him giving him the thumbs up. And
I saw this. Speaking of that, I saw this great meme the other day, and it
Adam's wearing a flannel shirt with the sleeves cut off.
yeah, he looks like
I had one of those.
Larry
shirts,
the
by
Cable
way.
guy.
Yeah. Basically, if you just model yourself after Larry the Cable
Dude, get
guy,
your
Adam.
flannel shirt,
You
button
know.
it up,
Yeah.
cut the sleeves off,
You know what's funny is
ball cap,
I
done.
had that look. Like it was like that flannel shirt, sleeveless flannel shirt, Metallica t-shirt, jeans, and then chain wallet. And that was like my uniform
Perfect.
college. Yeah. First
Perfect.
year. of
Like a
college.
Dale Earnhardt fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a Dale Earnhardt fan who might have a knife.
Dude, I saw
know?
this meme. There's this little car, and it was going off the side of the road, and one of its wheels had come off and was rolling down the street.
Yeah.
And it said, "Jesus, I didn't say take that wheel, not that wheel, Jesus."
Jesus is done with you. You're yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Anyway,
That's awesome.
well, that's it for us, guys. I can't believe we made it through on this camera battery. We didn't have to go to our
Yeah, no
potato
kidding.
cam, which is fantastic. Anything else?
I don't think so, man.
Good to go.
Adam's got my copy of Primus Illuminati, so I'm hoping to maybe have a Christmas release for that book. But
All right.
yeah, if we crank down on it, I don't know. I gotta probably not, but you never know. So
Awesome.
it's yeah, we're just plugging away, man.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Man, Adam,
thank you, Adam.
thanks for joining.
Adam
Thanks
Pearl.
everyone for watching. And we're the Gosslings. I'm
Yep.
Nick.
I'm Jonathan.
And we will see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yep. Have a good one.